Unfortunately, hacking in real life looks a lot like podcasting, just talking while stuff in the background is running, looking for vulnerabilities.
Is that what you're doing right now?
I mean, I could be. You wouldn't know.
You're looking for our vulnerability. Vulnerable. You don't have to look far, Dustin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another very special episode of Back Up a Second. I'm your moderator, Dapper Stormtrooper, here bringing order to the galaxy and this podcast. As always, I'm here in our stunningly medium fidelity, semi-boosted Discord server with my co-conspirators, Laughing Lutefisk, Veritable Wagner, and of course, bravest podcaster Krista. Tonight we'll be suffering through episode 5 of the CBS trash hit Picard, currently receiving a 3.7 on Amazon Prime, and a 0 from all of us. So if you haven't already tuned out, tune in, throw your leg over the chair, sit down, and prepare to have your year very seriously McGurd as we pull out our holographic pianos and play a little ditty called Stardust City Rag. Take us away, Wagner.
Very nice. All right, so Stardust City Rag, episode 5. The story so far. And I decided, since we're 5 episodes in now, I'm going to do this a little different. In honor of Adam's favorite episode, I'm going to give you the prelude here in metaphor form.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. I did not pre-approve this.
But this is all stuff we've seen before, so you should be able to kind of piece out what we're being reminded of. So here we go. Picard and Jurati at Daystrom. Data, his construction unique. Maddox, after the ban, because his stuff was all destroyed. The Romulans, angry. Picard, needing a crew. Raffi and Picard at Vasquez. Rios, so cool. Maddox at Free Cloud. La Sirena and Car Kantar at the Planetary Defense Network. 7 of 9 and Picard. Picard, his eyes open. And we go into the intro.
It's very dramatic.
Yes, thank you.
Wow. That was very good. Very good.
Okay, so...
Yeah.
Oh, no, what did I just say? That was not a request.
All right, so we open up with the view of a rather kind of wet, swampy, foresty planet. We hear some rather relaxed, gentle ragtime music playing, and we're told that we are at Planet Vergessen in the Hypatia system.
Did you say Vergessen?
Yeah. Where is it? We're guessing.
We're guessing it's somewhere in the galaxy.
The 7 domes, 13 years ago. So we're not going to see Mars blowing up.
Okay.
Yet.
Okay.
Thank God.
Hey, Dustin, do you remember Icheb from Voyager?
I don't.
I know you're rewatching the show now.
I'm rewatching the shows. I got a little when I was watching when it was live, when it was first coming out. I missed quite a few episodes in the last couple of seasons, so that's why I'm rewatching it now.
Okay,
I know that name.
Yeah, he's in the later seasons of Voyager.
Shoot.
He's another liberated Borg that they pick up with a group of Borg children.
I'm actually
like
looking
Borg
forward
teenagers.
to seeing that because I'm rewatching Voyager and there are episodes I don't remember, so I'll be looking forward to that.
Icheb, he's like this Borg teenager that they pick up with a bunch of other Borg that they had somehow separated. And 7 of 9 kind of takes them under her wing, and she becomes particularly attached to Icheb.
And they're like on the ship for like a season?
Yeah, he comes back he joins Starfleet after Voyager.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Oh man.
We open up with him strapped to a table covered in blood.
Oh, what?
What? Brought back so many memories, and look at this.
Crush them.
Oh.
He is wearing a Starfleet uniform. It's red. He's got 2 pips, but he is strapped down to a table, breathing heavily, covered in blood, looking very distressed. We get a shot of a device drilling into the side of his left temple.
Oh,
and he's like breathing heavily. And we see a scar where he used to have like an implant that followed like his eyebrow and down his nose.
Yeah, like the Borg implant.
Yeah, but that's
stuff.
missing now.
Yeah.
And it's a bloody scar.
Oh.
There's a lab person, a lady working there, covered in a blood-covered smock and wearing heavy gloves, and she grabs like this claw-like device, and using this device, like gouges in and grabs his eye. It's like a 3-pronged grabby thing.
You mean his device, like over his eye?
No, it's reaching in to grab his eye in the socket and pulls it out of the socket. Right, and Icheb is just screaming because he is not sedated.
Are you sure this was Star Trek? Did you accidentally watch another show?
Episode 5, Stardust City Rag.
Oh my god!
Yeah, this is not a clip for one of his other podcasts that he does, where he like breaks down 24 or something.
Or
that
Saw.
is kind of the show that I would expect it on.
Next season, we'll do the Saw movies. She uses this claw-like device and it's like grabs his eyeball, and Icheb is screaming, and we see she pulls the eye out, and you see these 2 like cables. Like at first I thought it was like the optic nerve in a blood vessel or something, but they're 2 cables attaching his eye to the inside of his skull, and they're pulled, like stretching those cables out, and she takes another like a little saw blade device and goes and cuts through the cables just like that. Icheb's still feeling every bit of this.
He's still screaming through all
Yeah,
this?
he's awake through this whole thing.
Oh my god!
No
anesthetic. Hell?
That's wrong.
Then she scans his eyes with another device. It's like over his eyes. And we do get a quick shot that shows that there is one other person in this lab kind of working on something. But she scans his eyes and she's like, "Where's your cortical node, buddy? It's got to be in there somewhere." Which is a reference to Voyager, because in Voyager, Icheb, I believe, gave his cortical node to 7 of 9.
Okay.
So he doesn't have his cortical node that this chick is looking for.
So kind of a cool.
So there's a little Easter egg there.
Yeah, while he's being tortured.
So she picks up another device. This one looks like it's got a large conical plastic drill bit, and starts like going like she's gonna drill into his forehead, but then there's a sudden noise and she stops and looks up and she's like, "Bajazel?" And then we hear pew pew pew, and 7 of 9 comes in and has stunned both of the people. There should only be 2 pews there. And then she stuns the lab people, and she goes over to Icheb and kind of cradles him in her arms, and she's trying to rescue him, to get him out of there. And he stops her and he's like, no, and he's begging her to end it, to kill him. He's like 7, please. And she, very distraught, embraces him, grabs her phaser, holds it up point blank to his chest and says, "I'm so sorry, my child," and shoots him. Begins crying, left alone in this room full of various extracted Borg parts.
That is just horrible.
Dang.
I like it.
I never thought I'd say this, but can Natick and his sister come back? Because wow.
Yeah, some Game of Thrones, man. We got some heavy violence and some incest.
Oh.
Yep.
This is kind of like the novels. Everyone dies poorly in the novels.
Oh, really?
Now we see.
The novels are bad.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay. Like Voyager novels, or like all Star Trek novels?
Oh, I think I only read one Voyager novel, but yeah, like if you read the DS9 novels, if that was thought ever entered your head, don't.
That's a shame.
Spoiler alert, everyone dies.
Oh, man.
Alone. And sad.
Yeah, that sounds like DS9.
It sounds like a Dostoevsky, but whatever.
So next shot, Stardust City, Free Cloud. In the Alpha Doradus, the Alpha Doradus system.
I swear I thought you were going to say Doritos, but go on.
The Alpha Doritos system. Got it.
That's what I'm calling now, the Alpha Doritos.
We find ourselves inside a fairly empty nightclub. I found out in my research, the club is called the Night Box. Okay. Flavor thing. There's a little person playing piano there. She's playing the ragtime music. It's a
human or alien?
I assume alien, but I don't know. They never confirm anything one way or the other. It's just a little person.
Like you can't tell. Like there's nothing just making her alien.
It looks like a human with dwarfism.
Okay.
Yeah. They don't, and I looked it up. There's no other information than just she's the piano player at the Nightbox.
Okay.
But she's playing this slow ragtime music, kind of ragtime style, kind of in the French post-impressionist sort of style. But that's
you're overshooting our target audience.
Okay, so this is now 2 weeks ago. We see a large sort of. He's kind of got like he's later referred to as like a reptiloid, but he doesn't have like a lizard head. It's more like his skin is supposed to be weird and lumpy and lizardy. He's a large man in all black. We find out later his race is called Beta Antari. I don't remember if I wrote that down wrong. If there's a T in there or not. But his name is Vup.
Was what?
Vup. V-U-P. Vup.
Vup. What's Vup? Okay, so he looks reptilian, and his name is Vup.
Yeah, but with a humanoid face, just lumpy looking.
Okay, just a lumpy reptilian face.
Yeah. We also have 2 women attendants dressed all in white, attending to a very important person named Bajazel.
Bajazel? And how do you spell Bajazel?
It's spelled B-J-A-Y-Z-L.
What is with Picard and not putting vowels in these words?
There are 2 vowels in here.
Yeah,
I know, but
1.5.
No,
there's no vowel between B and J and Z and L, which I feel
would
like
need to be a vowel between B and J.
Yeah, like York.
Yeah.
Well, then it would be pronounced,
Beazel.
Beazel, not Bajazel.
Beelzebub.
No, it's Bajazel.
It's Bajazel.
Bajazel.
B.
She's dressed in a very sparkly skin suit with these killer shoulder pads.
Ooh.
And she looks remarkably like a young Marina Sirtis clone.
Really?
Like if I didn't know any better, I would easily guess that this is maybe her younger sister or something like that.
Okay, can I get something clear for a moment?
Okay. Yeah,
It's a sparkly woman named Bajazel.
Bajazel.
She has been bedazzled, yes.
I would say it sounds
That's not the Jazzle I was thinking of.
Oh, Greta. So to bring it back to something, it's Beta Anari.
Anari. Okay, so I did that.
Okay.
Write that down right.
Yeah, so I'm looking at her and it's just like Bajazel. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like a My Little Pony cutie mark. Just, her name's Bajazel, so she's gonna be Bajazeled up.
She's the next guest star on Yerminer. Okay, so she's there. Vup approaches her and tells her that Bruce Maddox is there. And Bajazel
wait, who says what to who?
Vup tells Bajazel that Bruce Maddox is there.
Okay.
And then Bajazel he just says Bruce Maddox is here. And she says, kill him. No, wait. New plan. Cut to Bruce Maddox.
I swear to goodness, if Bruce Maddox is about to be tortured to death, like...
well, it looks like he's already kind of tortured himself quite a bit because he looks very stressed out. He's got that sort of grown out beard, like he hasn't really been caring for himself lately.
So he's been under quarantine for 2 months too?
Yeah. He's sitting at a table in the Nightbox. He's kind of wringing his hands. He looks super stressed out. But Bajazel approaches him rather warmly. And Bruce explains to her, she sits down next to him. He's like, what's wrong? Bruce explains to her that his lab has been destroyed and she comforts him, right? She's being very friendly. I imagine this is very much like a comforting mob mom.
Yeah, I was about to say, this sounds like a mob boss right before he...
tell me who hurt you.
Yeah.
Tell me who hurt you, that kind of thing.
Look what they did to my boy.
Yeah, so she comforts him.
Kill him.
She comforts him, offers him some Tranya, which is a drink. That's all the information we can get from that. And Bruce is explaining to her, and here's a quote, because I find this quote rather interesting. He says they used some kind of molecular solvent to destroy the entire facility. There was literally nothing left.
Okay, so...
just the fact that he has to clarify that it's a molecular solvent?
Yeah, I mean...
that's like an alien, where they say it's some sort of molecular acid.
Yeah, I mean, molecular solvent, I don't know, that's kind of weird, but, sounds like...
molecular?
yeah.
Well, I would assume that by calling it a molecular solvent, he means that like a universal solvent unsticks, sticky things, a molecular solvent literally degrades molecular cohesion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds like a Romulan disruptor that just, makes the whole thing disappear.
Yeah, because there was literally nothing left, he says.
Yeah.
And he apologizes to Bjayzl, saying, I don't know how I will ever be able to repay you now.
Oh, that's not good.
And then she says, oh, nonsense, and continues comforting him. And this is when she asks, who did this? Who's after you? And we get a quick shot of Vup growling intimidatingly. And Bruce, he whispers, he's like, I think it was the Tal Shiar. And then at that, Bjayzl looks concerned. And she's like, well, that does change things a bit. And at that point, Maddox begins coughing and choking. Bjayzl gets a grin on her face, and Maddox drops his glass and falls to the floor, gagging and passing out. And then Bjayzl sits back in her chair. She says, making a deal with the Tal Shiar is always such a pain in the ass.
Oh, good grief.
And that's how that scene ends. We go to the opening credits.
Now, all right.
So a lot of good establishment there regarding Bruce Maddox
and my boss. And now we're into Act 1.
Yes. Act 1.
Bjayzl. I hope Bjayzl comes back, because I just love saying
God,
name.
no.
Bjayzl.
It's a B.
Stop.
It's a
I
B.
need you to really pronunciate the B. It's not a V as in Victor. It's a B as in boy.
B. Okay.
Some cultures, that's the same.
Bjayzl.
Yeah, but in English, we have another thing that's very close to a Bjayzl. And we're trying to keep this, safe for the kids.
So Picard's in his den. He's watching a Free Cloud ad on his holo. And so basically Free Cloud is your basic casino planet. Anything goes, everything's allowed, right? And then the tagline.
I feel like Casino Planets is where sci-fi shows go to die.
Well, tagline for this commercial, tagline for the ad is Free Cloud keeps your secrets.
Oh.
So, what happens?
What happens in Free Cloud stays in Free Cloud. Yeah.
7 of 9 walks in. We get a little dialogue between Picard and 7 of 9. He asks if she's well. She says, I'm functional. Right? He offers her a drink, tea, wine. She says bourbon, straight up.
Yeah.
Oh man, she's cool too.
She's so friggin' cool.
They waited until getting to the planet to have a conversation.
Oh yeah. No time for that in space. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff to do.
I'm not sure if they're exactly at the planet yet at this exact moment, but they're on their way.
Okay.
Oh, there's a rather interesting little thing where 7 of 9 comments on the choice of location, like the den in the holodeck sort of thing. And Picard says that it wasn't his idea, which seems odd to me given previous episodes where he said that it matched exact specifications. I don't know. He says it's not his idea. Anyway, moving ahead. They talk. She asks, what's he doing? Picard says, I'm looking for someone. And they talk about this. 7 teases him, like, I thought you would have been doing something like saving the galaxy. And Picard says, well, there may be a bit of that too. Well, and then they start talking about Free Cloud.
The man's 93 years old.
That's like 45 in the future.
This is what Picard does, though.
Stop expecting people to save the world every single year.
Galaxy.
The galaxy. Sometimes the universe.
So they start talking about Free Cloud. We get a little bit of exposition here. We find out that the Fenris Rangers, remember that organization that 7 is part of, they keep their money in Free Cloud.
Oh wait, 7 is part of the Rangers?
Yeah, she's full on Fenris Ranger.
No, I did not know that.
Right.
I don't remember that from last week or last time on a previous very special episode of Back Up a Second.
Well, I don't think it was mentioned yet because she just showed up.
Yeah, it was kind of a surprise that it was her, but she was on that ship that just randomly showed up when they were fighting the Kantar, whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm. Now we never saw the guy that we never saw was a big threat. But we just saw his ship until he got blown up. Got it.
Well, it was an old Robbie and Bird of Prey, so that's fun.
So we find Picard says he admires the Fenris's bravery and tenacity, but he complains he doesn't like that they're taking the law into their own hands.
Oh, you got to be kidding me!
And 7 of 9's response is, "What law?
That's a good response.
Yeah, Picard says, point taken.
Wow. Jeez. Way to go there, Picard. I mean, if you're going to give up that easily, why did you say anything at all?
I don't know.
Force of habit.
I'm banking that this is just like more manipulation. He's like just easing her into like, oh, like this is like a gradual sort of quasi apology where it's like he's letting her be right about stuff, letting her defeat him in verbal combat.
You know, based on what we've seen in past episodes of Picard, I will actually accept that explanation.
Yeah.
I mean, it fits because going on in the conversation, Seven starts explaining that, you know, she's helping people who have no one else to help them, right? Like that was kind of her initial drive, and it's still kind of her drive now. Except now she says that, you know, the work is pointless and exhausting, but the only thing worse would be giving up.
Oh, wow. She quit the Crusader.
Yeah, and so we get the impression that Seven kind of wants nothing to do with whatever it is Picard's doing, but then she kind of hesitates and asks, like, you know, why are you doing this? And Picard says, well, I'm helping somebody who has no one else to help them except for me. And she turns around and comes back and asks for another drink, thus agreeing to help Picard with whatever he wants to do for this rescue mission.
Yeah, because he doesn't know that about Soji. He's making a lot of assumptions.
Yes, thank you.
He doesn't know who Soji is, though. He just knows that there's another one.
And he has no idea if she's actually in trouble.
Or where she is, or if she's even still alive.
Or if he has other things or people looking out for her.
I thought he knew that she was on the artifact.
No, they don't know where she is, because that's why they're looking for Maddox.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They figure he might know.
So he knows nothing, and he is just being a manipulative bastard. Got it. Check. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
I like Picard more and more as it goes on.
So then, cut to the bridge. We have Raffi looking up information on her holo on the console. We find out that the name of this person she's looking up is Huang, Gabriel. And if you're quick, you might even notice that he's on Free Cloud.
Okay. And why is she looking for Juan Gabriel?
That's a big old shrug from me right now.
Oh, for now or?
For now.
I'm sure we'll get to it.
Rios walks up, and Raffi casually closes her screen. And they start discussing 7 of 9 and Picard, right? Rios is like, what do they got to talk about there? They're talking in their room for so long. And they start talking about how, you know, Raffi reminds him that, or Raffi tells him that this is 7 of 9, the ex-Borg Fenris Ranger. And Rios is like, oh, that Fenris Ranger. Like, he's heard of her. And then she also reminds Rios that both 7 and Picard are ex-Borg.
It's the exposition. Oh. What do you know? It's the exposition. What's going on?
Rios gets out a cigar to try to light it up, but Raffi is like, and he puts it away. She's been drinking like coffee and tea this whole time.
Oh, she's on the wagon? Good for you, girl.
So Rios has heard of 7 of 9. He's like, 7, the ex-Borg Ranger from the Delta Quadrant. And then he's like, and I forgot Picard used to be Borg too. And then
I really hope Picard walks on the bridge next time. Rios is like, "What's up, Mercurius?"
L to the Q. Hey, whoa. So, quick comment from Rios says, "This is some strange cargo you brought me this time, Raffi." Raffi says, "Tell me about it." Cut to Agnes in her room.
What?
No, okay. So that establishes that he is doing this not because he's been employed by Picard, but he's doing this because Raffi either has paid him or she's the one that he is doing
taking orders
like
from.
They've worked together in the past. We get the impression.
Yeah, I feel like that just further cements that.
There's a lot of that in this episode. It's actually kind of good how much of that kind of stuff they do, like really establishing a lot of good character traits through dialogue and like doing it the right way.
Took them half.
I was saying we shouldn't be doing this on episode 5.
It's a slow burn. It's like Paranormal Activity.
That's not how.
Okay.
No, moving on. Carry on.
Although I'm pretty sure there's some writers from Paranormal Activity on staff.
So we cut to Agnes. She's in on her bed, kind of like half lying on her side. She's watching a holo. And it's a home video that she's watching of Bruce Maddox, and you hear Agnes laughing from off screen, and she's teasing Maddox about, you're not replicating cookies, but you're replicating all the ingredients to make cookies. And so she's teasing him about that in this video. And so she's like
Agnes, or
yeah,
like a kid Agnes?
No, adult, like same age. The people are the same age in this video. It doesn't look like they've aged any different.
Okay.
But yeah, she's like, I don't get it. It's the old replicator versus real food joke. Okay. And Bruce is explaining that, he'll replicate the eggs, the butter, the flour. And then Agnes is like, so you replicate the ingredients and then you set them on fire? And Maddox is like, no, you don't set them on fire. You bake them. And she's like, why don't you just replicate the cookies? And he says, I don't like the replicators chocolate chip cookies. And then Agnes appears in screen and he holds up a cookie for her to taste. She takes a bite out of it. It's a cute little moment. And they start kissing each other. It's very sweet.
Oh, yeah. Wait.
Agnes and Bruce Maddox have a history.
Did we know that they were romantic before? Because I thought they worked together.
Subtly hinted at it here and there, but never really explicitly hinted at it. Like, this is really
how old would Maddox be? Yeah.
Well, how old was he in Next Gen?
I
would probably
30s.
30.
Pretty,
yeah.
It struck me he was pretty young. I would guess late 20s. Like, I would.
You think so? With everything he'd accomplished?
That would be absurd. I would say that would be absurd.
The age difference between Maddox and Agnes is very much akin to the age difference between professor and student.
Oh,
that's yeah.
Like that.
Bring back the Romulans. This
tracks.
just got uncomfortable again.
Hey,
really? No, again.
Yeah, professor and student is not as bad as incest. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Dustin.
Not to get into controversial stuff, but yes, professors are allowed to be in relationships with students as long as it's not a conflict of interest.
I knew some students that dated professors when I was in college. So yeah,
professors often marry students after the fact. Not while they're students, not usually.
I just want to point out that you're a college professor.
Yes, and I would never date any of my students.
Okay. I wasn't sure where you were going with
required to say that. However, not relevant. Let's move on.
Definitely move on.
Anyway, so that's the age difference there. So we get this impression. They're kissing in the video. Agnes turns the hologram off and wipes away a tear from her eye. She's been grinning this whole time. Cut to the bridge of La Sirena. Now everybody's on the bridge. Some time has passed. They're approaching Free Cloud, right? We get this little announcement that they're approaching Free Cloud. And they all get... Who announces it? It's just the computer console. Like now approaching orbital command or something like that. Well, they each get personalized advertisements.
What?
Yeah, little hologram advertisements pop up in front of each person. So the first one we see is Rios, and he gets this little mechanic dude. He's red skin. And the sign says the Red Bullion. And he's like, hey, I noticed your engine efficiency is only at 91%. The people at my company can fix that for you. And Rios just flicks him away with his fingers. And apparently they program these holograms to react to physical activity. Because the hologram's like, wah!
Why would they program that in?
Because it's hilarious. Fun, interactive advertisements, Dustin.
Yep. Oh my goodness!
Don't you wish you could punch a commercial in the face?
I kind of wish Rios had an ad blocker. Is kind of what I'm wishing right now.
So what I remember reading, Dustin, is that actually they prefer it when you click skip ad. Because that means they know you're actually looking at 5 seconds of the ad.
You're reacting to it instead of ignoring it.
Yep.
Oh.
And so the fact that you engaged with it and they can give you a method of engaging with it means that it's more effective advertisement.
That's why you don't open spam email, because they know.
Well, no, spam email is different. Because I'll put in a picture or a picture link that goes to a web server. And when you hit that, that's how they know that you opened it. But I mean, with YouTube, it's the first 5 seconds of a video. What are you doing that
that's why YouTube video. What are you doing? Well, if it's one of those 90-second ones, you could have hit play, or you could be on just continual play, and it just plays, and you might be someplace else.
Okay, so it's measuring if you're on okay, that makes sense if you're on autoplay or a playlist that you're still there. Okay, that makes sense.
So that was
Anyway.
Rios's advertisement.
Yeah.
Picard gets a Victorian woman. You know, it's like cartoony Victorian woman with like the black and gray striped tights and the top hat. And she's advertising a place called the Free Cloud Grand Hotel. Very posh. Agnes gets an ad as well, except hers, she's being attacked by this big blue like robot boxer. Think Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Got it.
And it's like, and she's like, somebody make it go away.
Really?
Oh my God.
And the advertisement is Free Cloud Institute. Let's see if I can remember the voice. Free Cloud Institute of Entertainment. Entertainment Robotics is now hiring. That's her advertisement. She's like crouching and blocking as this hologram is trying to punch her.
Why do I feel like Agnes is just an idiot?
She's timid.
Timid? No, not timid. Like, she didn't understand the concept of cooking a few seconds ago.
Well, that's a standard Star Trek trope.
Yeah, they make jokes about that all the time.
Again, Dustin,
Well,
no. See, what I think is that, as we discussed in the last episode, Agnes is the audience sort of surrogate.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously the writers think that the audience are idiots.
Ooh.
So
Yeah, I mean, that might be it. It's just, these are two examples of her being kind of like a naive idiot. And there were some past examples too, where she was being like that. So it's just like, it's kind of creating a portrayal.
She's the snarky comic relief.
I said she's being relatable.
For some people.
Yeah, I guess.
So Rios is like, no, you have to punch it. And she's like, I don't hit things. And Raffi Raffi comes in. She's encouraging. So like, come on, knock its head off. And so she punches it and knocks his head off. And then they're all like, yeah. And they laugh. And Rios is like, yeah, good job. And gives her a high five. And then Aggie does that awkward sort of flurry of blows. Like, and they laugh and have a moment. An awkward moment, but a moment nonetheless.
Oh, wow. They're such a bonded crew.
Yeah. Whoa.
Raffi gets the ad next. Her ad is for Feely's Venom Garden. And we get this hippie dude with like Rastafarian colors. And he's got a big old joint in his mouth and a hookah on his side and various smokable things in front of him. And she just shoves it off to the side. And again, it reacts. It's like, "Wah!"
Why are they one by one?
Yeah, it was
because
question.
The audience wouldn't be able to process them all at the same time.
Like,
it's like
give us one or two, we can figure it out.
You don't throw all the enemies or ads at somebody at the same time. You do it one by one so they can fight them off.
Yeah, maybe it's like one of those ads where when you click the X, then another one pops up immediately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So every one of them, when they do it, then just the next one comes up.
Like each of them gets their own personalized ad. Except for Elnor, he's like, I didn't get one. He looks upset.
No, Elnor.
Yeah.
You go get one. Go away, Elnor. No one likes you, apparently.
He has no internet history, so
at that point, Raffi announces that she has located Maddox.
Wow, that was fast.
Well, he found her on a local local criminal network. It's like a job posting board for interfacers are what they're called.
It's not very good criminal enterprise.
Criminal Craigslist.
Well, no, it's a network board for them to be able to find work.
Yeah, again, this is the lawless planet, so I guess
no, it's part of a guild though, because there's something called the Interfacers Guild that they mention, and it's like all part of their whole thing. Called Facers for short.
Fakers?
Facers.
Oh, Facers.
Like interface.
Interface needed to be shortened.
Sorry, Facers.
It was too long, interface.
And she mentions, like, I found him. He's being held by a party named Bajazel, and they're looking for someone to broker a deal with the Tal Shiar.
Oh God! Every time you say that name,
Seven recognizes that name. She says Bajazel, and explains that they're like, you know her? And she's like, yeah, she butchers ex-Borg for parts. She's been high on the Rangers wanted list for years.
That's convenient.
It doesn't sound like she was hiding.
Not very hard.
Yeah. Like, what have you been waiting for? So
they begin plotting on how they're going to extract him. And so this is when we find out that Bajazel has hired a small army of private contractors, plus a Beta Inari. And they're like, oh, Beta Inari. Rios explains that they're sentient reptiloids, very nasty. And so they're kind of thinking, what are they going to do? And they're not sure. So Raffi is like, I don't know if we can do anything. But then 7 of 9 suggests that they make a trade for Maddox, and they can offer something that she'll find irresistible. Rio says, like what? 7 says, like me.
Yep. Knew that. Saw
Yep.
that coming.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Cut to commercial. Act 2.
Oh, wow. We're flying through this. All right.
Just like La Sirena is flying to Free Cloud. No, they are. This shot, they're seen flying into the city of Free Cloud. It's this very brightly lit city, lots of giant holograms everywhere, big colorful signs.
Okay, so this is the ship that docks as opposed to just hangs out in orbit and beams people down.
I don't know, because they talk about beaming in and out. So I wonder if maybe the ship that we see flying in isn't La Sirena, but it's hard to say because I thought it was, but then they're later talking about beaming in and out through things. I don't know. It's not made entirely clear.
Yeah,
but
if
we
they
do get.
don't go flying in, you can't see that cool Blade Runner shot of all the holograms and stuff.
It's not quite as bleak as Blade Runner, though.
It's more it's got the holograms like them
and shiny,
right?
Yeah.
It's like a happy Blade Runner.
And Easter eggs. There's a sign that says Quarks.
What?
Yeah. There's a Quark reference.
I mean, there's probably a lot of Frankie named Quark. So,
well, this isn't the only Quark reference we get in this episode.
Are you serious?
And how many Ferengi named Quark are there, really?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. Well, the name might be as common as John. I mean, you don't know.
Either that or I see Quark as definitely making a franchise, franchising Quarks and spreading it throughout the galaxy.
That could be. So we see Rios beaming down to the street, and he is dressed all up to the nines as a pimp. The green robe, the big old hat, got a feather sticking out. He's got a big old cigar in his mouth.
Oh.
Okay.
Why is he dressed like a pimp?
He's dressed as a facer.
That's how facers look?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Because we cut back to the chateau on the ship as Raffi is explaining her pretty foolproof plan. That's what she says. It's pretty foolproof. And we see Picard sitting there. He's dressed in all black. He's got this fancy black suit on. He's got an eye patch and black gloves. He's all dressed up for this. And but he's like, are you serious sending us down there looking like this?
Okay, it sounds like now he's the audience stand-in.
And Raffi explains that facers are very flamboyant. So the bright colors, the exquisite clothes, it's protective coloring. You want to stand out. No, you want to stand out because you don't want to be mistaken for the other side. Because the facers, they do jobs.
Okay.
And you don't want to be mistaken as the enemy. So you want to stand out so that people know that you're this go-between guy.
So yeah, you instead of a facer, I'm assuming they're butters, maybe. I don't know what the opposite of a facer is.
I'll give you points for effort.
I completely do not understand this concept.
That's okay. I don't think the writers do either.
All right, cool.
Yeah, that's weird.
But that's the gist of it. He's dressed fancy because facers try to dress fancy. They want to stand out so that people don't mistake them for being sneaky because they don't want to die.
But if
Hunter's Orange?
Aren't facers inherently in a sneaky job? So if they stand out as facers,
no, it's like a medic on the battlefield. You want people to know you're a medic so they don't shoot at you.
So
okay,
like in your standard typical pop culture.
Okay. Gotcha. So facers are considered so valuable that people won't shoot them. Instead, they just try to like get you.
They're
to be
the
on
go-between
their
people. They're how people get things.
Oh, they're how people get things. So they're
they broker
like
deals and stuff.
Are they free agents?
Yeah, it's like diplomats. They're like diplomats.
There's a whole guild.
They're like there's a whole
Interfacers guild
of criminal diplomats. Okay, I guess I'll allow it. Maybe.
Yeah, so he wants to stand out, and Rios he's not sold on this just yet. He looks over at Agnes and is like, "What do you think?" She says, "I think you're killing it." He smiles. No, they're cute. They're cute.
No.
Excuses for them.
They have chemistry.
It's
awkward chemistry, but they have chemistry.
God, only 4 nerds would be together, and I didn't accept that awkward chemistry is valid chemistry.
It's the only chemistry we know.
Well, you convinced me. Let's move on.
All right, Elnor is confused. He looks confused at the goings on. Meanwhile, Raffi explains to Rios, he's like, no, you have to sell this. You can't just do your normal brooding existentialist, bit. You have to sell this. You have to get the character, right? Be flamboyant. You need panache. And Seven says, you need a feather in your hat.
That'll do it.
Cut to Rios getting scanned in at the nightclub. Great shot of the feather sticking out of his hat. As he's getting scanned, he lights up a cigar. He's so cool. He walks on in, and we see all sorts of colorful characters in this nightclub. A waitress walks past with a halo floating over her head. We see like this 80s dude. Think like 80s action movie, kind of like Waterworld style mullet. And then he walks like kind of past Rios, and he's got these big glowing like holographic angel wings. So like these are very extravagant, elaborate, fancy looking people. Hairdos galore.
And these are like the patrons going in?
These are people at the nightclub.
Oh, okay.
So Rios goes over to the bar, orders a drink. He orders a Temtibi Lagoon with 2 umbrellas.
TB Lagoon?
Temtibi Lagoon. I'd spell it, but it won't give you any information if you look
That's
it up.
all right. I don't care.
But he asked for 2 umbrellas because he wants to be fancy. And he asked the bartender, he's like, please let Mr. Vup know I'm here. But Vup is already standing right there.
That was
towering over Rios. He's like, do you feel lucky?
Well, do you, punk?
Did he really say that?
Something like that. Flashback back to the ship. Raffi is telling Rios, try to stay away from the lizard.
Wait, he says try to stay away from the lizard, and the lizard's the first thing he asked for.
Yeah. But she explains the Beta Inari can smell when you're lying. Also what you had for dinner last night and the last person you had sex with. Rios looks over at Agnes and says, if they're not the same thing.
Hi-oh.
Agnes says, because that's not disturbing at all.
Jeez.
I don't think she got what he was saying. Never mind.
Yeah, no.
Cut back to Vup and Rios.
Nicely naive.
They have a seat. They're talking business. We get another reference to Quark because apparently this backstory that Rios is coming in with, like they're talking about his references, and Vup is like, "You have good references. You had a lot of Quark, you had a lot of praise from Quark because of Rio's help with the Breen." Right, and he mentions specifically Quark of Ferenginar.
Quark of Ferenginar, wow.
Yeah. And then they start talking Tal Shiar. It seems that Vup assumes that Rios is with the Tal Shiar, or is representing the Tal Shiar. But Rios says, no, I'm here for another interested party. Vup finds this surprising, and he doesn't like surprises, so he pulls out a gun and sticks it into Rios's face.
Oh my God.
Okay.
In the middle of the nightclub.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Apparently not.
This territory, man.
I can't tell if this is like a high-class nightclub that people go to or if it's...
This is a libertarian planet, Dustin. Nobody cares.
I was going to go with Tortuga, but sure, fine.
Yeah.
So Rios has a gun to his face, and Vup says, what could possibly be worth reneging on the Tal Shiar?
Well, wait, I have a question about the gun. Is he is he brandishing it, or is he kind of like hiding it as he's
holding it right in his face?
So he's like arms stretched out. Anyone could look over and see the guy's got a gun.
Yeah. The bouncer is holding a gun to this guy's face and nobody's questioning it.
I like how this contradicts everything that we knew about the pimp outfit, because I thought the whole point was that you weren't supposed to attack the facers.
He's just being intimidating. Because he's warning him. He's like, what could possibly be worth reneging on the Tal Shiar? And he reminds Rios that he has 1,253 olfactory receptor genes, which means that he can smell, among other things, a lie. So proceed with caution.
I mean, this is
they really
Star
want
Trek.
to drill that home.
Yeah, I mean, Star Trek, they've come up with more ridiculous things, but yeah.
I just find it amusing that he specifies that they're not olfactory receptors. He has 1,253 olfactory receptor genes.
Yeah, what's that?
The technobabble is really Just
it's like
Ah.
hyperinflating it because he only has the one olfactory sense, but he has 1,200 some odd like chromosomes that are linked to the olfactory sense. It's just like saying, yeah, it takes me this many chromosomes to have muscles or nervous system.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's stupid. It's
So
Yeah,
here's
it's
Rios with a gun in
silly.
his face saying, "Don't lie to me. I'll know." Cut to the ship. Agnes injects Rios with something. And Rios is like, "What? What was that?" Right, we're back on the ship.
oh god.
She just randomly injected him with something and
Of
didn't
course
tell him what
she
it
did.
was.
She's quirky, Dustin.
Well, then Raffi then explains beta blockers, anxiolytics, benzos, delayed release. Raffi's good old home cooking. It should kick in when you need it. Cut back to the nightclub. Rios with a gun in his face, and suddenly he gets a look on his face like he's getting really high. And he kind of like looks down, looks back up, his eyelids drooping. He's got this big stupid grin on his face. And he holds out a little hologram display of a body. It's 7 of 9, but it just looks like a body, like you see the bones, and it's supposed to show all the implants. And Vup says, that many implants on a living specimen, impossible. And Rios, with that extremely baked look on his face, he's like, how do I smell? And
That
then
doesn't make any sense because he's not lying. So
and then Vup gives a sniff. He's like, truthful.
He didn't say anything.
You also had some sort of smoked
Yeah.
meat for breakfast, didn't you?
Okay, we get it. He can smell good.
No.
is
You gotta
insane.
do your Joss Whedon style humor here.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. I like the smoked meat comment, but it's stupid. It's stupid because he didn't say anything. He didn't lie. He just showed him a picture, which was one of the things you would have to do to not lie.
Well, there you
just
go.
Implied.
So Rios is like, if I could just get a teensy transport window. And then it cuts back to the ship. We have Raffi. She's like, I'm not so concerned about Rios. I'm more concerned with you two. Looks over at Picard and Elnor. Picard sitting there, he flips the eye patch down over his eye and he says, well, I thought I looked, with this horrible French accent, he's like, I thought I looked appropriately sinister. And Raffi says, no comment. And Picard looks, he's like, sits back down.
Wow.
Grandpa's drunk again.
Yeah.
Okay, so they decided they did not beam him down like that. They're like, oh, we're gonna do this, and then no, they're not gonna do that, right?
They
Of
beam him
course
down.
they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
What are you, crazy? They sent this idiot down here in a pimp hat.
With a feather.
Raffi hands a little device to 7 of 9, explains that it's a transport pattern enhancer. They can use it to beam back. It creates a stable tunnel so they can get through the shields.
Jargon.
Okay.
Would have
They
been
can get
really
back from
useful
inside the
last
shield.
episode, but yeah, sure, whatever.
That's a good point. Yes.
And then she gets out a pair of handcuffs and is like, do you mind? And she starts putting them on 7 of 9. While she's doing this, she asks 7, she's like, why are you helping? Why are you helping us? And 7 of 9 explains, she says, ever since the neutral zone collapsed, right? Like when the Romulans fell, the neutral zone collapsed. And ever since that happened, somebody had to keep order. Now it's just habit.
It could have been the millions of other Romulans that didn't die, but
Scatter to the winds.
Scattered to the winds, and now it's former Starfleet officers riding in like the Old West.
Was 7 of 9 an officer? Was she ever made Starfleet? I don't remember. I think she must have been.
I mean, she did
I don't know.
enough stuff, but
I don't know if she did on Voyager, but afterwards maybe.
She did eventually refer to the crew as her new collective, so I feel like she was.
Well, that's
she's
because she was trapped
to
with
the
them
core.
in the Delta Quadrant.
I feel like she's Starfleet to the core.
4 seasons? I don't know.
Voyager was a special case.
Yeah, there's a lot of things special about Voyager.
Hey, I am enjoying going back to Voyager.
I like
Voyager.
Voyager.
Yeah.
I do.
I am appreciating Voyager more than I did when it first aired.
Voyager's gotten me through at least 2 breakups, so I like it.
Well, there you go.
So anyway, Raffi begins to kind of start telling 7 of 9 how to get out of the handcuffs, but like no sooner does she begin, but 7 of 9 is already out of the handcuffs. She knows her shit. And so Raffi explains, when you get Maddox, activate the enhancer, and Agnes will beam you out. Meanwhile, Agnes begins objecting. She's like, wait a second. But Raffi keeps going. She puts a bag over Seven's head, asks if she can breathe. Seven is like, okay. But Agnes objects. She's like, what do you mean? I'm on the transporter. What? And then Elnor speaks up. He's like, it's a lie. They all look at him. Everybody's behaving as if they're somebody else. There's an awkward pause. Everybody except me. Cut to the checkpoint of the nightclub. Elnor is being scanned in. We hear a voice say, he's clear. So we have Picard and Elnor with Seven, with the bag over her head, meeting with Rios and Vup.
Why did they send Elnor down?
Because
he literally can't lie.
Because they're not that smart.
Cut back to the ship.
Okay.
Agnes is like, the transporter. How hard could it be?
No one thought to show her how it works before leaving?
I don't know. I assume so. Anyway, then we get a
adult,
shot of Elnor.
No. She is an adult woman living in the 24th century.
No, she's a cybernetics expert. She doesn't know anything about transporters.
Oh my God, she's a cybernetics. She's smart enough to be an AI expert, but she doesn't understand the concept of cooking. She doesn't understand how to use a transporter.
Yeah, she's very specialized.
Like, stupidly. It
seems like she's very intelligent.
She's very intelligent, but she's like completely and worldly naive, which could work, but there's no reason why she would be so naive. Why is she so sheltered?
She's using like the standard sort of, and you're going to hate me, Dustin, this is very much a fantasy princess trope.
Yeah.
It's like, she's royalty, she doesn't know how to dress herself or anything that the peasants might do, like cooking or operating a transporter.
And in fantasy, that makes sense.
Here's the thing with Agnes. She has dedicated and devoted her life to the study of cybernetics and AI. This is her clique. This is her niche. So she doesn't know how to drive a car. No. She has dedicated her entire adult life and academic career to this very specific field.
Yeah, I'm willing to accept that. And the cooking thing, I mean, they made jokes about cooking with Cisco all the time on DS9. So that's just a continuation. And I wouldn't expect regular people, she's basically a regular person, to understand how a ship's transporter works.
Yeah, okay.
How to operate one.
She is still, to my mind, operating under that princess fantasy trope, but I could get that as a sci-fi that as time increases, the specialization of labor becomes far more narrow, and so people who focus on one thing don't know how to do any of the other stuff because there are other people for that, and they're all highly technical fields.
Yeah, like I've flown several times on a plane, but I don't know how to operate one.
Yeah, I get it, but I'm just saying.
Do you know how to operate a transporter, Dustin?
What I'm saying is, she like knows how to do nothing. Like, I do know how to do some.
Okay, she dedicated her life to this field, and suddenly everything was pulled out from under her, and she has nothing.
Yeah, but
that was like 14 years ago.
Her like 12 years ago. What has she been doing since then?
She hasn't been able to figure out how to block an ad pop-up yet?
Yeah, and she's been behind on her cybernetic magazine.
Banned cybernetic magazine.
What's that?
We assumed it was banned, I guess. I don't know.
We discussed this possibility, but I mean, the point is she's 2 years behind on that. So, like, what has she been doing?
You know what? I think there's a lot of other more interesting things about Agnes we could talk about rather than her ineptitude at transporters.
Or we're just talking her ineptitude at
everything. Just this little quirk that they decided to write into her character.
It would be nice to see her be proficient at more things.
Yeah. What has she shown herself to be proficient at?
Cybernetics.
Possibly lying to a Vulcan?
Has she shown that? Or have we just been told that?
The leading cybernetics expert on Earth.
So we've just been told that. Got it. Not shown, just told.
We
just in her conversations
in her lab.
Yeah. And her conversations with Picard, she's what got him going on this journey. But ever since then, she hasn't done much.
Not yet.
Yeah. Well, she did shoot that one guy and then freak out about it. So I'll give her that.
Which was inexplicable.
Well, which to me kind of goes against her being so unworldly. Like, you just killed a dude.
Wait, hold on. Is this all a ruse?
I just thought that.
We got Machiavellian Picard.
That's right.
Is this an Agnes who's perpetrating?
That does seem to be a theme of the show here. Is kind of who's using who.
Now I do have a
Come up
question.
a few times.
Now I do have a question.
Yeah.
If this does turn out to be a ruse, when she was going right transporter, was she saying it to herself or were other people in the room?
Kind of to herself, but at this point there are other people in the room because more stuff is happening.
Besides, in the future, you never know when you're being watched. You got to maintain the persona at all times.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they had footage of that whole roof explosion with Picard.
Yeah.
Except for the important parts.
Like the explosion.
Yeah.
Man, we're fixing bad writing with more bad writing.
We get a shot after this this brief moment of Agnes commenting about the transporter. We get a shot of Elnor spinning around, and he's got a big old grin on his face, and he's wearing his costume that he's going to go down to the planet on. And he says "Aguardiente," but a lot more better than that does. And everybody's like, "Oh." And Elnor looks discouraged. He says, "Oh, I don't know how to not be Elnor." And Picard says, "Then be Elnor." And Seven says, "An Elnor who never talks."
Oh, jeez.
Poor kid.
Cut to Free Cloud. We're back in the nightclub. Picard unhoods
himself. Why can't everyone else just be themselves? Are they like famous and going to be recognized?
You're overthinking this, Dustin.
I want to know why they're wearing ridiculous disguises.
Because it's Star Trek. That's a thing.
Because they can.
That's a Star Trek thing. You can't argue that that's not a trope.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Star Trek characters dressing up in costumes and going places to blend in. Mm-hmm. Or even just to the holodeck.
Flamboyant costumes.
I mean, you get it with the holodeck, sure.
Hey,
but...
when in Rome, Dustin.
I'm just saying.
If you're trying to blend in, if you're trying to pass yourself off as a person who is normally flamboyantly, brightly colored, then you want to be flamboyantly, brightly colored.
But do all of them have to be flamboyantly colored?
That's been established.
So they're all facers
in bright colors.
Okay.
Well, no, Rios is the facer.
So why do the rest of them have to be dressed so ridiculously?
Because Picard's the one going down there who has 7 of 9. Picard's character is the one who's making the deal. Rios was the go-between to set up the meeting. That's what the facers do.
Okay, so why is Picard speaking with that accent?
Because he's playing in character.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let's just I'm sorry.
I don't think that anything is going to explain this other than the fact that it was fun. They thought it was funny and quirky.
Yeah.
So
it's Star Trek.
They thought it was funny.
This is a normal Star Trek thing, Dustin.
They thought it was funny to have an Englishman talk an Englishman playing a Frenchman have a terrible French accent.
Yeah, exactly.
Justin, we have a lot more things that we can make fun of in this episode.
And otherwise, this is a dark episode.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We're only in Act 1.
What page are we on? I thought we were in Act 2.
Oh, no, we're in Act 2. You're right.
What page are we on?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Wow, really? Okay,
cool.
Oh, wow.
Okay. We're moving right along. Like the Muppets.
11. We're on page 11.
No, Rizzo's not in this one.
Not yet.
So we're on Free Cloud. Picard unhoods 7, and he is just going all at this character. He's like, "Oh, disgusting thing."
Why?
And he goes off. He's like, yeah, she was just a young little thing when she was assimilated. And we find out because when they were assimilated younger, then they keep more of their parts when they're ex-Borgized. So, of course, Bjayzl is going to be more interested in this because she has more parts. And he continues, it's like, she is defiled, damaged, cursed. And while he does this, 7 of 9 just kind of turns and looks at him with this look on her face, like really, Picard? Really?
See, like that's what this episode is. This is like the con. This is like the Sting at Ocean's 11 con moment.
Con.
Not that kind of con. It made it better.
Con with the C.
Vup is impressed. He's okay with this. He's
Rupp
impressed.
is an idiot, but okay.
Vup is-
So Picard turns to Rios, like they're sitting at a table now. Picard turns to Rios and says, "Your work is done," and hands him like a payment chip. Rios takes it. He's like, "Mind if I have another drink?" And Picard says, "It's a free planet."
Wait,
I
is it
feel
a
like
free
you're being specifically ridiculous.
No.
I cannot imagine.
I know,
freaking
Dapper.
Patrick Stewart saying
After
all
this,
that.
you have to fact check this and
This
find that
is
episode
okay.
and see how ridiculous if Brian's
This is
overplaying.
Patrick Stewart playing a role where he can ham it up at long last after however long it's been since the last time he hammed it up properly.
Probably Men in Tights.
Sure.
Yeah.
I am not doing this any justice as far as how much Picard is hamming this up.
Oh my goodness. All right. No, yeah, Dapper, you gotta fact check them and bring it up next time and verify.
Yeah, let us know.
You get just wait until you do your watch through.
Oh man.
So Picard and Vup, they start talking a deal. But Picard first, he's like, I need proof that my bounty is still alive. I need to see Maddox. And that's the end of the shot.
Stop doing the accent. I can't.
Because it's not quite French, and it's not quite Austrian, and I don't know what the hell it is.
No, because
Picture Patrick Stewart doing this, and it is just cracking me up.
It sounds more like Arnold Schwarzenegger trying to do French.
Of course, Patrick Stewart does a much better angry French accent than I do.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you for trying, Brian.
Adam, can you look up a picture of Picard's costume for this?
I can, absolutely. I think I had it somewhere very easily.
But yeah. So anyway, we cut back to the Serena.
I've seen it. It is ridiculously French.
Eye patch.
The costume is, but is the accent also this ridiculous?
I don't know. I'm going to find out.
From as
point
the only
here.
person who has watched the episode, yes. And that's like ever.
Oh,
there you go. Look at that. Just majestic.
And that's Bup right there. Too.
Oh.
What was the French pirate in the kids' cartoon Tailspin? That's who he reminds me of.
Oh, wow. Bring it up. Tailspin.
Wow.
The deep cuts, man.
Yeah. You can find that picture and be
Are
chat room agrees with me.
Is this
Side by
like
side.
a character who showed up in one episode that you remember? Excuse me.
No, he was like a reoccurring villain.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
On Tailspin.
I haven't watched that since the 90s, so
Yeah, it's like
I mean, I haven't either, but
Oh, man. I wonder if that's on Disney Plus. I'll have to look.
oh man, you're right.
anyway, cut back to the Serena. Raffi is looking at another hologram. We see Picard standing there kind of in the background, waiting patiently. Again, this is before they've gone down. And on the holo display, Raffi has located, or we hear the computer say that they've located Gabriel Huang in the Stardust City Medical District. And the rest of the scene is Picard and Raffi basically saying goodbye to each other because they've reached her destination. And like she seems a little hesitant, like she's going to say something at the last second, but then she changes her mind and says, basically, I didn't write down the quotes, or the dialogue, but it's like basically it's been fun. It was almost like old time. Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
From Tailspin.
I think that's the guy we're thinking of.
Yes, that is the guy.
Yeah,
He doesn't have an eye patch, but yes, Don Carnage.
Anyway, so they say their goodbyes, and Raffi beams down to the planet, and that is how we end Act 2. Which means it's time now, Dustin, for me to send it over to you for Corrections Corner.
Yes, we do. All right, we do. Don't have too much for me to nitpick, but I tried. So, we were talking about the Ram nuns, and you're trying to describe their outfit.
Yeah,
you're trying to say they weren't like the full nun headgear,
like not the black and white nun.
Yes, so it was I looked it up, and that what you're trying to reach for was called a card or a carnet. That is what you're trying to describe. Is the black part of just the black part of a nun.
Dustin,
okay.
Dustin,
So it's not a coif.
You're so Catholic.
It's called a card. Well, why do you think I'm a rules Nazi? And,
Wow.
yeah. So I had to nitpick myself about one thing. We were talking about the Romulan versus Klingon bird of prey, and you were trying to describe the ship, and I referred to I tried to refer to the D7 Klingon battle cruiser, but I called it a B7. So I just want to verify it's a D, not a B. Fan. Yeah, I know. D7, very famous. And we also discussed...
Very famous. It's the best. The best.
And then we were talking about... brought up, feeling sorry for the writers with all the producers. And then you mentioned that you think a lot of them are producers. So I looked it up. Every single person with a writing credit also has a producer credit on this show.
Oh, wow.
Like executive producer, co-executive producer. But I will say Michael Chabon, the showrunner, either wrote or co-wrote 8 of the 10 episodes.
I thought
Kurtzman was
the showrunner.
Yeah. What's that?
I thought Alex
Kurtzman? No, he's kind of like he's not involved at that level. He's a higher up executive producer. But yeah, and I've looked further into it, and very few of these at first I thought, well, maybe, Hollywood doesn't really treat writers very well. So this might be where they're giving all the writers these producer titles just so they can get more prestige. But no, almost everyone started as a producer. They have previous producer credits and almost majority producer credits, with the exception of Kirsten Beyer, who got famous for a run of Voyager novels that were very popular. And then she started writing for Discovery and then this show and became a supervising producer. But she only wrote one episode, the one we're talking about now.
Okay, so she actually has some experience with writing Star Trek.
Right, and she's the only one. The rest of them are like writers for TV shows that are like mysteries, or one of them, two of the people come from like Major Crimes. Another one was writer producer for NCIS and SWAT. So, and then
this makes sense.
Yes, and another one, Ayat Waldman. She is a mystery novelist, essayist, and also a writer-producer on the Unbelievable TV miniseries. So she was really hard to get for this show as a writer, because she is, very much in demand. But fortunately, Michael Chabon had an in. He happens to be married to her.
Oh, well, they sure got their money's worth, didn't they?
Yes.
I have to say, so far, this episode does seem the most Star Trek, just because it is very strongly reminding me of the DS9 casino episodes.
Oh, yeah.
And they even did that, that quick cut of here's what we're going to do. And then they're telling you what they're going to do in the plan while they're also showing the plan. And of course, I can't think what the episode is, but...
Of course, all I can think of is that one song from the episode when they get trapped in the game and they're playing hopscotch.
Oh, not that song. Not that. All right. So,
and DS9 did the heist really well. That was a great episode.
That was a fun episode. But I mean, it was a holodeck, so that explained why everything was so ridiculous and over the top.
Exactly. This is just kind of... It's reminding me so much of that. It's like they're channeling that episode as their inspiration.
Which they might be, because that's how hackneyed writing works.
Yes.
Well, everything's borrowed from something.
Yeah, everything's borrowed. I won't, begrudge it just for that, but
So for after the episode is over, I have uploaded 2 different YouTube videos to the Observation Lounge. One of which is just Patrick Stewart making fun of the French accent on a talk show, and one is literally clips of the episode we were talking about.
Is it your Minor?
No, it's not your Minor.
Oh.
He's not on your Minor.
It's a Graham Norton show, which may be translated into Romulan as your Minor.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Could be.
I don't speak Romulan.
They do drink on that show.
Yeah. Romulan ale? Maybe. We don't know.
Okay, I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait. I had to click on it. Yes, it is that ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So knowing what we know about Patrick Stewart and just with the preface of this, yes, it's ridiculous. But
I imagine this is Patrick Stewart finally getting to stretch his legs for a while. Because I don't know what the
Cleaning it
last
up is
time he
not
was able to
stretching
do.
your legs.
I
I'm
don't
sorry,
know when the last time he
Patrick
was able to
Stewart-
do a ridiculous, so over the top, ridiculous character like this. Since the last time he was in Star Trek.
Anyways, that is that is all I have for Corrections Corner.
I got
so if
stuff.
anyone else
I had
has
one.
something-
Oh,
yes.
you
I
can go
did.
first.
Nice.
Ooh, exciting. Yeah, it was the Fenris Rangers. That's what they're called, right?
Mhm.
And we had said that was the wolf from Norse mythology. Actually,
Yeah, we made a
Fenrir.
mistake.
Yeah,
it's
Fenrir's the more common name. Fenris does come from Fenrir because another name for him, apparently in Old Norse, is Fenris Ulfr. I do not speak Old Norse, which means
Close enough.
Fenris wolf.
So
Ulfia.
So-
Fenris means Fenrir.
Kind of, yeah. It was another name for him. We know him as Fenrir more commonly today,
It's
but
probably like an Icelandic versus sort of Norwegian it's the same
yeah,
thing.
yeah, it could have been
You know,
because
Southerners versus Northerners.
Yeah, those stubborn
Yes.
Northerners.
Stubborn Northerners.
exactly.
Either
But
way, he is the wolf that will devour the sun at the day of Ragnarok. But
Yeah, I do know people who would immediately leap to correct us on that one, so I did want to address it. I hear you guys. I hear you now. Yes, we know.
Yeah, we all hear you too. Knock it off.
yeah, because it's
This is
Sunday,
Star Trek,
Bloody
not
Sunday.
Norse mythology.
Yeah, if
Anyway.
you want Norse mythology, go
That was to our
Stargate.
audience, not to you, Krista.
You go to Stargate, yeah, Stargate, North and Egyptian mythology, yeah. Okay,
I
but
got
to
some
be
stuff.
fair, Patrick Stewart probably got to stretch his legs reasonably by being in Family Guy and American Dad.
Oh, that's true. But
Oh, gosh.
not that's as a cartoon character though. That's voice acting.
Apparently, he was also in the most recent Charlie's Angels,
I keep forgetting that exists.
Is there another
Yeah.
more recent one?
2019. Yep, and they redid it again because
Wow.
we've run out of ideas. Also, apparently, there's a movie in 2019 called "The Kid Who Would Be King," and he played an adult Merlin.
Oh.
He'd be a good one. I'd
Yeah.
like to see that. See, yeah, Patrick
You know who
Stewart.
else
He
is
is
a good
just an
Merlin?
international treasure.
Oh my god! Okay,
Yeah.
so he was also in the Emoji Movie. I'm looking at
Oh,
his
geez.
IMDb page.
Really?
now. Can you guess
my
which
gosh.
emoji he played?
Is this what makes Corrections Corner now, Adam?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, it does. Yes, it is.
Tell me, it was the poop emoji. I'm thinking.
Yes, you are correct.
I watched that
Sir
with my
Patrick
kids.
Stewart,
Yes,
Knight of the Realm, played the poop emoji.
yes, and he
Wow.
played it with dignity, if I might say.
God damn right he did.
All right.
I think Sam Neill was an excellent Merlin, by the way. That's what I was trying
Oh
to
yeah.
say.
Oh yeah.
My
Definitely.
favorite Merlin.
All right.
Anyway, do you have any
more
other
corrections?
Honestly,
I have
like
some. I'm
I
waiting
like
for
the
everybody else to go.
the show.
What?
There was a show called Merlin, and it sort of played with the Arthurian myth quite a bit, and I liked it. I liked it a whole lot.
Mhm.
Where it was teen Merlin and a teen Arthur, and it was an Arthur that, yeah, basically, and it was an Arthur that
So cool.
lived under a Uther Pendragon that did not die before he was born. So he grew up as Prince Arthur.
Oh wow.
And
Oh, weird.
You know who played King Arthur?
Who?
Giles from Buffy.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh.
It's a
He's
pretty good show. He's a great actor.
Well, Anthony Stewart
He is. Anthony Stewart
yeah,
Head.
Anthony Stewart Head. Yeah, he's a great actor.
I have his album too. He's a good singer.
Oh man. I have the soundtrack for the musical episode of Buffy. Does that count?
Well, no, but
Oh.
sort of.
I have Corrections Corner stuff.
Well, go. Why haven't you cut us off? Go. You're the one who started this nonsense.
Okay, so listening through previous episodes, there was a discussion about whether or not it was properly established that Rios was Starfleet to the core.
I mean, yeah.
Mhm.
Like, yeah,
Yes,
it's
we did.
absolutely established that he is in a conversation. He is Starfleet to the core. I had to bring that
again-
up because in an episode that
just
question was
telling us-
distinctly brought up.
Just telling us that does not carry any weight. You have to show us. Tell a show, not
Yeah,
tell.
but you can say some things. You're allowed to tell some things.
Yes, but if you tell us something and then do not show it and do not back it up in any way,
But they are backing it up because Rios is like enamored by Picard and he's following his every direction. And he's doing everything pretty much by the book. He's Starfleet to the core.
except for
Okay.
all the illegal shit and the fact that he's actually working for Raffi and pretty much everything else about him. Got it. Check. Sure. Okay.
Well, but what
Next
does
poll.
Star Trek to the core, or what does to the core mean? Like,
It means that Picard is manipulating Rios to go along with his plan.
all right.
Well, in that case,
Well,
I have further argument, Counselor.
Speaking
I
of
think we've come to a
Rios,
synthesis.
speaking of Rios, I looked this up. He's not Spanish.
Okay.
In fact, it's kind of unclear because the actor Santiago Cabrera is Venezuelan.
Mhm.
But according to writer Michael Chabon, according to him, Rios is Chilean, but I'm gonna stick with Venezuelan because the
That's
quirks in the language of the actor are bleeding into the character. So,
And I
Right.
mean, is that any of that relevant? We already discussed how Canada doesn't exist anymore.
well, I only
It's
bring
true.
this up because
Chilean
of a certain
relevant.
comment that was made previously. That I don't know if you guys want to go into this right now about
But we're here. Let's do it.
a certain hologram, drunken hologram with an accent,
Mhm.
and that being racist.
Well, the fact that he was speaking another language, not just an accent.
So just because he's speaking another language, that makes it racist?
No, the fact that he was playing into an existing stereotype.
Yeah, he definitely
But
was.
there are a lot of stereotypes of drunken foreigners. So just because somebody is portrayed as drunken and speaking a different accent,
it wasn't
doesn't
drunken. It
mean-
was the
I
fact
don't think that means that it's playing into a stereotype. I think
wasn't just
you're allowed to
drunken.
have character quirks like that without it being labeled a racist stereotype.
No, it was not just drunken. I mean, you also said he was lazy. He literally said it was lazy Spanish, and
Well, no, his
was
speech was
begrudging
lazy.
he was begrudging every order that Rios was giving him.
Well, yeah, because Rios hates holograms.
But the other holograms don't do that.
They're fed up.
Why
with
is it
Rios
just
too.
him?
The other holograms
I mean,
give Rios sass.
Okay, so if it were a drunken, lazy Irish hologram,
Like, yeah, if he showed
would you
up with
say
an Irish accent,
would you say
would
that that
call
wasn't?
racist?
Yes.
If he showed up with the German accent, would that be racist?
But
No,
I don't
'cause
have
Germans aren't generally lazy.
I'm
That's
just
kind of
saying-
the
I'm
opposite.
just
Yeah,
saying-
Germans aren't known as being lazy drunks.
They're
Well,
very actually productive drunks.
nobody's okay.
I mean, you get them into a beer
I'm
hall and you
I'm
get
just
a
saying my stance on this is I don't think it's necessarily appropriate to automatically attach the label racist stereotype just because a character is being portrayed with two quirks that happen to line up with what we consider part of
A
a
racist
racial-
stereotype?
part of a
Yeah.
racist stereotype.
Uh,
Right? Somebody
yeah,
can
no,
have
that's-
quirks that align with something else without being that other thing.
I think the point is that, yes, that may not have been the intent, but the problem is when you do that, when you play too strongly into what already is a stereotype.
But they didn't really go any further into it. They didn't like lean in on it. They didn't establish any further things that connect those dots. It was a lazy hologram
Speaking
drank a
Spanish.
lot.
that was drunk and also spoke Spanish.
because Rios drinks a lot and speaks Spanish.
So Rios is
But the other holograms don't speak
Different
Spanish
accents.
yeah.
at all.
So would you call it a stereotype or a racist stereotype because the British guy is the hospitality hologram?
I thought the American guy was the hospitality.
Okay,
hologram.
maybe that's what. But
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
I think
That's the opposite of a stereotype.
I don't know,
Pretty
I'm gonna stand-
categorically thought of as rude.
If it was an English like English butler, then yeah, that's a stereotype. That's leaning into a
Well,
stereotype.
Well, I guess it's the medical hologram that's British.
Yeah, but if
here's
it were
here's
the
another thing, and I
hospitality
don't want
one,
to go
then
too
yeah.
far into this yet because there is a future episode that dives into this further, and
Okay.
it involves all the different holograms.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's another reason why I'm taking a stand on this hill here.
Okay.
And I
have a question. Are there other Spanish speaking people in this series?
Not that I've seen, but why does that matter?
Well,
Okay,
it
so
does actually
Dustin?
kind of matter if your only representation is leaning hard into a bad stereotype.
Dustin, I'm going to explain this away for you.
Okay.
Would you like me to do that?
Explain it. Look, you don't have to explain it away. I'm not talking about in universe. I'm talking about just the
Okay,
meta.
just the choice. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, again, though, if it's addressed later on, maybe that we just need to hold our judgment until it is addressed later on. That maybe there is a reason why these, like in universe, why the writers chose to make these decisions.
I mean, to me, it has to be one heck of a reason because the writers are still choosing to do this
I think that's
and
putting
come
an
up
unfair
with
burden
some
of
kind
proof.
of reason.
I think that's asking for an unfair burden of proof. You're asking for the people creating the character to go above and beyond to establish that, no, these quirks are not racist stereotypes, rather than simply allowing a character to have these quirks without automatically applying the label.
If you apply quirks that fit the meter
Just
of
because
stereotype,
quirks fit a stereotype doesn't mean that they're using a stereotype.
they
Just because things
Yes, it does.
match.
absolutely it does.
No, you
It
have
does.
to. You have to
Absolutely it
lean into
does.
it more.
No,
No.
it absolutely does.
No, absolutely you don't. That's the whole point, is that a stereotype is usually predicated on ignorance. So if you do something that meets those stereotypes and you are any kind of quality writer, you look at it and go, oh, I've met this stereotype. Either I need to change what I'm doing or come up with a reason why this is the way it is, other than just me being lazy and going,
Okay.
up, stereotype, drunk,
I
lazy
get that.
Spaniard.
I get
Or
that.
better yet, have other representation that doesn't lean into that stereotype. That's why I was asking,
That makes
is it
sense.
if he's the only person speaking Spanish leaning into this stereotype, you're leaning into it and perpetuating the stereotype. Doesn't make you a bad person, okay, that you didn't recognize it, but what you are doing, in my opinion, is bad, whether you realize it or not, or even if you didn't intend to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
So
I get your arguments. I get your arguments. I guess my brain takes different angles and tries to make different looks at things.
It's good to argue things. It brings out better points for both sides.
So would you like me to make this better for you, Dustin?
Yes, absolutely. Please try.
Okay. This is the emergency pilot hologram on a ship normally piloted by one person. It is the
weapons.
Weapons?
Yeah.
Okay, still the most used hologram. It is the most like him, except it is exhausted. So it is tired, it is possibly hungover, and it does not have the capacity to speak, to be bilingual.
There you go.
That's... Yeah, I mean, you're trying to solve the in-universe problem.
I am. Again, I'm trying to make this better for you.
Yeah, my problem isn't the in-universe part. It's the fact that the writers chose to do it.
I understand that. Yep. I am. That's the only way I can make it better, because I don't know what the writers were thinking or their intent. So all I can do is try to make this story better.
Because that does tap into, and this is a big argument I go into with my students as well, is the whole argument of intent versus interpretation. Right. Mm-hmm. How much of a racist stereotype is rooted in the intent, and how much of it is rooted in the interpretation that we get.
So I will jump in quickly on this. As far as intent, I mean, if you're trying to judge a person, yes, intent is important, and I'm willing to forgive and etc. But as far as a work of fiction and how it affects society, I am very much on the side of death of the author, that the way your work is going to be interpreted by the society consuming your art is more important than authorial intent.
But couldn't you also say, why not just look at it in context of the show itself and not necessarily apply outside labels to it?
In the context of the show itself, no show exists outside of the context of the people consuming it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you're communicating something with your audience when you use a character like that.
Okay. So, like I said, and just to make this clear for everybody, I get your arguments. I understand them. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate you
racist
making
stereotypes
this.
Are bad. Okay.
Okay.
I also feel that just because these traits are present doesn't necessarily mean that we have to apply the label. That's my stance, and
so I
leave it at that.
I will say, if this was by itself, I would not be like, oh, this is a racist stereotype. If the word racist is the problem, I will say this is a stereotype that exists, that, many people thought of and perpetuated on purpose and consciously for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And still do.
Mhm.
I mean, it's less so now, much less so now, but
is it though?
it's still there.
I
I
mean,
would hope
again,
so.
in
Let's-
our region, yes. I don't know that you can say that about, say, in Texas.
I want to petition that we
We'd like
move
to
on.
apologize to our Texas listeners that we did not mean anything by that.
Please send all complaints to Dapper Stormtrooper. P.O.
Yeah,
Box.
absolutely. I lived in Texas. I know what you're about.
All right, I got more corrections here.
Okay, let's do
Oh,
it.
God. Okay.
All right.
Damn. All right. Keep going.
These are quick though. First of all, I want to clarify. In the last episode, I think or one of the previous episodes, I hummed a bit of the main theme of the opening credits,
Mhm.
and the part that I hummed was only part of the main theme.
Oh, for God's sake.
What?
Damn
Only
it.
music majors care, and that is like 0.1% of the population.
I love this. No, speak for yourself. I love this level of caring. I love it. Bring it on.
So the part
Whether
I
it's
sang,
music or production shots, I love this.
the part I sang, it went doo-doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo. But the main theme goes doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. So there's my correction there. Next,
I take it back. That was amazing.
That was lovely. That was
Oh.
lovely.
Next.
Oh, I feel soothed. I feel like a cold water balm is falling over my heart. That was
bomb, water bomb.
balm with
Oh.
an L.
Next up, I said that the spelling for your manure had 2 H's in your.
God, that does not matter. That does not matter. Why would you bring that up again? Oh, 20 minutes on this.
Also, here's a
German
legit.
So it's not your manure, it's just your manure.
Whoa, okay, my bad. Very important distinction.
All the emphasis.
Okay, proper correction now. In previous episodes, I've been saying different names for the ship. It is La Sirena, Sirena, La Sirena.
Got it. The
Okay.
Serenity, check. Got it. We
yeah.
are all leaves from the wind.
Also,
It
last
means
one.
mermaid, doesn't it?
Does it?
Spanish for mermaid?
I don't know. I didn't look it up.
Mm.
It would
I
make
think it's
sense.
Spanish
like
for mermaid.
siren.
Right,
Sa-
exactly.
Teca?
I'm gonna
Last
try.
correction.
No, hold on.
oh.
La Serena, L-A space S-E-R-E-N-A.
Sirena.
Okay, I don't know then. S-I?
S-I-R.
Because La Serena with an E is actually a city in Chile.
Chile.
Mm.
Which, according to Michael
Interesting.
Chabon, is Rios is
Is-
Chilean.
Right, he's Chilean. So maybe that's where he's from.
Oh. Anyway, last correction.
Got it.
When we were talking about the Romulan incest siblings, I made the comment that Game of Thrones did it first.
Mm-hmm.
In
No.
fact, it was Wagner's The Ring Cycle that did it first.
Really? I did not know that. I actually find that interesting.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
going to go ahead and say that no, the Ptolemaic Egyptians did it first, but sure, go ahead.
I mean,
Well,
yeah,
that's real
but
life.
I didn't know that was in. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, so Wagner's Ring Cycle is a cycle of 4 operas. Each are like 4 hours long. It's crazy. But in the second one, we are introduced to the 2 main characters named Sigmund and Sieglinde. And they are brother and sister. They're also demigods. They're children of Wotan. But they hook up and have a baby.
Again, that's God.
They have a baby.
Yeah,
That's
they're demigods.
Everybody was siblings in that.
So I'm just
Hera and
saying,
Zeus were siblings.
I'm
It's
just saying that's where Game of Thrones got it.
Okay, also, I'd like to point out that, I typed La Serena with an I into Google, and it says, yes, it is the mermaid.
Oh.
However, the language it detects is Romanian, so there's
That's
that.
weird.
That's
Oh,
weird.
wow. That's weird.
I mean, it's also a Romance language, but still,
Yeah.
that's weird.
Yeah, it's probably mermaid in a lot of romance languages, honestly.
I'm going to go ahead to go to Spanish to see if it tells me anything.
All right, that's all I've got. Act 3. Woo! Stardust City Reproductive Health Services.
Wait. What? This
That's
is
what
Planned Parenthood?
Yeah.
What?
Fuck.
And we get an establishing shot, and we get the sign, and there's like light up animations of babies crawling on either side, and it's like your baby is our baby. We care for your health. That kind of stuff.
And
Raffi is walking down a hallway towards a young man sitting down in what seems to be like a lobby waiting area. She says, "Hello." He looks up, and his face just goes completely stone, and he's like, "Wow, here?" And she timidly sits down, kind of in another seat nearby. And the guy who we learn is Gabriel, the guy she was looking up. He asks if she used a tracker or if she just hunted him down. And Raffi was like, "Well, I still hear things, you know. Maybe I hunted you down." Gabe does not look amused at all. And so she tells him, she's like, "Look, I'm clean now. I'm better. I'm healthy. I'm clean."
No,
and
she's not. She just cleaned up a few days ago. Oh my God.
This is what she's telling. Hey, we don't know how long it's been.
That's
we
true.
don't know how long it's been.
Maybe it's been weeks.
Space travel takes a while, Dustin.
Still, I don't consider that I'm getting clean because now I know I'm on the way to meet this guy.
Well, hey, there we go. That's what she's saying, though.
I know, but I mean, that's...
And so
that's
she's trying...
crappy.
She's trying to atone for not being there for him.
Wait, how old is this guy?
He's like in his 20s, old enough to be her son.
Oh,
okay.
I was thinking romantic partner.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking at first, but no.
Oh no, sorry, he's much younger.
Okay, all right.
And he is not amused. He is not amused. So she's like, "No, I'm clean now." And she tries to atone. And she says, "I'm here now. I'm here now if you'll let me be." And a couple times through this conversation, like she reaches out, kind of like touches his knee, and he pulls away, like he's not having any of this. We find out that there's a granddaughter on the way. Like she knows about it. She's like, "So how's my grand?" And he's like, "We're gonna have a daughter." You know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we find out there's a granddaughter on the way. And so she's trying to convince Gabe that she's putting her life back together. She's getting things figured out, right? She's making changes. Gabe brings up the attack on Mars.
Oh, no!
Oh, come on! We almost made it through a whole episode.
Well, he brings up the attack on Mars and she flinches and he presses. He says, "Tell me more about the attack on Mars. Tell me more about how it wasn't the synths. Tell me more about this conclave of 8. Tell me more about how this was worth ignoring, me and Dad, and how you abandoned us for this tin hat conspiracy." And she snaps. This sets her off, and she doubles down on the conspiracy. And she's like, "There was other stuff going on, right?" And she like goes completely conspiracy mode. Gabe
Sounds like this kid knows what he's doing.
Yeah, Gabe has won this confrontation, and he knows it. His face still completely still. Like this is good facial acting on his part, I think, because he's like keeping it completely stiff while still giving us all the emotion. And he's like the big line that this conversation builds up to, because he just starts ripping into her, and he says, "I don't think you understand just how much it sucked to be your kid."
Okay, hold on. Just to point this out there, as I'm doing my fact-checking duty. This is the son of Cuba Gooding Jr.
Is it really? Oh, I
yes.
thought he looked familiar.
This is Mason Gooding, the son of Cuba Gooding Jr.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a really intense scene here. And at that moment, a young
I feel like
woman...
this. I mean, yes, it's very intense. I wish it could have been set up a little bit more, but yeah, I'm
just explaining it here. But...
yeah.
No, I mean, this is good. I like that there's no setup. That she comes in, we're like, what the fuck's going on? And it's like, oh, it's her son. Oh shit, she's estranged from her son. Yeah. Oh shit, her obsession with conspiracies has alienated her from her father, from the father of her child, and from that child, and now she's about to be a grandma, and she doesn't have any in on that.
Yeah. No, here's the thing. I'm liking the scene. I have a feel like it's not going to matter much in the grander scheme of things.
Oh, no.
But
what do you mean it's not going to matter? This is character building, Dustin.
We'll see. Character building can have
character building here. It doesn't need character building. Doesn't have to be something that's stretched out over the entire arc of the character. You can have moments like this that are just as potent.
It's better if it's stretched out, but okay.
Not necessarily. I don't know. Sometimes the good old gut punch is what you need.
Yeah.
Gut punches are good to
Plus,
get
this
started.
has been established, not
Yes.
the reveal, but we do know that she's been coming to Free Cloud for some reason that is her own reason.
Right. I mean, I got that. It would be really cool if introducing conflicts like this into the Star Trek universe, I think would be cool if it was better integrated into the plots. But I have a feeling this is going to be a really cool scene in and out, and we're not going to hear much more about it. But maybe Picard will prove me wrong, and I'll have to eat some crow on that. I kind of hope it does.
I get what you're saying, but I also feel like this has been present, just kind of boiling under the surface of her character. Like seeing her character throughout the story, especially going back and rewatching it, you can see that this is there from the beginning.
That's fine. Well,
yeah.
I'm going to go through the rest of the series and see how that affects her character and her character affects the plot. So let's, I'm open to it, but I'm skeptical just based on the past terrible writing.
That's fair. So at that moment, he says, it sucked to be your kid. And at that moment, a young woman walks out of through a doorway. It's a young Vulcan woman, very pregnant. We find out her name is Pell.
Okay.
This is Gabe's wife.
Okay. I wish to interject here based on Memory Alpha. This is not a Vulcan.
She's not?
She's a Romulan.
Oh, is she really? I assumed Vulcan based on her persona. She seemed very controlled.
According to Memory Alpha, no. Pell is a female Romulan.
Oh, that makes it even more interesting.
Yep. Oh. That ties it back into the main.
You know what? There you go. Dapper just won that argument for you, Brian.
There we go.
That's what I do.
This whole series is just crawling with Romulans.
I didn't know we were competing.
The question is he a northern Romulan or is he
we are in the Beta Quadrant, I guess. We are technically in Romulan space. Well, no, we're in...
That's true.
We're in neutral zone space.
Yeah, which is close enough.
Which is collapsed.
Yeah, collapsed. Yeah. Okay, but yes, I like that because I had the same question. Is she Romulan or Vulcan? Because they never say in the show. And I guess I didn't look it up. But I assumed because she has this very stoic way of about her, like the way she talks is very controlled. So I assume
you might be mimicking though, like the behavior of her husband and like kind of like mirroring that emotion is what I would get out of it.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she's being stoic because she's not happy about this.
She doesn't seem to know who she is. She doesn't recognize Raffi because
okay.
Gabe introduces them and he says, well, she's just passing by. Pell even asks, like, well, it's nice to it's wonderful to meet you, I think is the word she uses. Will you be staying with us? And then Gabe is like, no, she's just passing.
Okay.
So then we have a moment where Raffi knows what's up at this point. So they say their goodbyes, and she says, she's very distraught. Goodbye, Gabe. He says, goodbye, Mom. And they walk past her, leaving her alone. Like they're walking away from the shot and she's left in frame. It's very cool. And she is completely distraught, fighting to hold back tears as they round a corner and leave the shot. Cut to Bajazel.
No.
Cut to Bajazel.
Dang it. I was getting some real... Oh. Okay.
So Bajazel and our team are there. The shot opens with Picard revealing Seven by taking the bag off her head, and immediately Seven and Bajazel recognize each other. We can tell by the way they look at each other. And then Bajazel is like, I thought it might be you.
I'm sorry, but basically when you say they recognize each other, the Kenny G music started playing in the background like there was sexual tension immediately.
Yes.
Like it was more like careless whisper.
Careless whisper.
Yeah.
So she's like, I thought it could be you. I even hoped. Right. And she calls her Annika.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because that's her real name.
Yeah.
Hazel's real name is Annika?
No.
Seven. Oh, okay.
Ye of non-Voyager watching.
I know. I'm working on it.
Work faster. Anyway, Picard's surprised by this revelation. And then Bajazel's people all draw guns. And she starts taunting them. Right. Rios, meanwhile, is nearby watching from the bar. Because he's not part of this exchange anymore. He's been dismissed. Anyway, so they all draw guns because the gig is up. Cut back to the ship. Agnes is pacing nervously back and forth. She's like, you can do this. You can do this.
Wait. What do you mean the jig is up?
Well, what jig?
Yeah,
we found out that Annika and Bajazel know each other.
So
aren't they supposed
that surprised
to?
Picard, so that wasn't part of the plan. So now Bajazel has the upper hand.
Why wouldn't Bajazel recognize 709? Wasn't he selling her? But
No,
isn't
she
he
recognizes her right away. But this is the first time she actually sees 7 of 9 without a bag over her head.
Yeah,
Okay. That's
the plan, wasn't it?
Blow it for Picard, yeah.
Well, they didn't tell her that it was 7 of 9. They just told her that they had a Borg with a lot of implants.
So
it's 7 of 9.
But Jazel didn't know it was 7 of 9 until just this moment when she saw her face.
Again, that should not blow it for Picard. The op is not blown.
But the thing is, Picard didn't know, so that blows everything.
No, it doesn't. But okay, go on.
I don't know.
I mean, I could see where Jazel would be suspicious. Like, wait a minute. How did she get caught so easily?
I may have skipped over a couple minor details, but in the scene, this is the impression that we get.
Okay.
We have Picard's theme.
We got to go back on a corrections corner to explain why the jig is up, because as far as I can tell, everything's still going according to plan.
I'll make a note.
Because it sounds like, yes, he's selling 7 of 9, and the fact that she recognizes 7 of 9 is even better, because now it's an even more important or easier trade of why it'd be so important.
Right,
yeah, but she might be suspicious. Like, I can see her being suspicious. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
I know you're a super badass. How did you get caught?
Maybe.
I mean,
like,
how could
something's
she
going
not?
on.
Picard is wearing an eye patch and a beret.
You're right. That is super trustworthy. I forgot.
You can't stop that.
Yeah.
He must
Might as well be Napoleon.
Yes.
Cut to Agnes.
Or John Pennard.
Agnes is pacing nervously back and forth. She's saying under her breath, muttering to herself, "Oh, you can do this. You can do this."
So now she's by herself.
Yes. And then the EMH appears and says, "What is the nature of your psychiatric emergency?" She kind of looks at him. He says, your pulse and blood pressure are significantly elevated. Right. And she's like, starts arguing with him. And she's like, "I'm going to give you a sedative." And she says, I don't need I don't. Right. She does that. She doesn't need a sedative because she's freaking out. Rios calls and it's like, "Agnes, are you there?" And then Agnes is freaking out and the EMH tries to speak up. He's like, she seems to be blah, blah, and she's like, "Deactivate EMH." And he just,
why would you deactivate the hologram that's trying to tell you what's going on and be helpful?
Because it's revealing that you are having an emotional breakdown.
It's because Rios doesn't like holograms and Agnes likes Rios. So Agnes isn't going to like holograms either.
No.
She specializes in androids, not holograms. Thank you.
Whatever.
Anyway, so Rios calls and is like, he gives Agnes a heads up that, hey, it looks like things might go sour here. So be ready. You've got a lock on them. And she's like, it's red. So I think so. Yeah. And he tells her, just wait until let him know if they ever activate the pattern enhancer. And if that happens, beam them up right away.
Yeah, we already established this, so thank you for reminding the audience.
Yeah, there's a lot
cut
of
back
that.
to Bjayzl and 7 of 9. Bjayzl starts taunting her about Icheb. She says, "Are you still angry that I carved up your little friend for parts? Or is it because you trusted me?"
Jeez.
Ooh, no. That she trusted her. That implies a previous relationship.
No.
Find out that they work together. Basically, what we find out is that Bjayzl was posing as somebody in line with the Fenris Rangers' ideals.
Yeah.
But really, she was after Borg part.
I just cannot take this person seriously because she's called Bjayzl.
Yeah, I know.
It's like she's bejeweled and bedazzled, and both of the ridiculousnesses of those are combined together.
Those are both fun games, by the way.
No, one is not a game, and the other one is
if you make
stupid.
it a game. You can bedazzle anything and make it a game.
I swear to God, if you bedazzled anything, I'm going to punch you through this microphone.
All right, gentlemen, please.
I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Yeah.
I challenge you to a duel.
As Krista surreptitiously puts her bedazzler away.
Yes.
Anyway, so we have that exchange. We find out, yes, they work together. Basically, what I gather is Bjayzl posed as somebody in line with Fenris goals and used that trust between 7 and her to get Borg parts. And 7 feels particularly guilty, we find out later, because 7 is the one who mentioned Icheb to Bjayzl.
Got it.
So anyway.
Yeah. Sorry, I was laughing earlier. I mean, yeah, this is good, like building and stuff, but it just seemed like a very generic line for a villain to be like, or because you trusted me. But I guess it's a good line. It's
it's a bit knife twisty.
yeah.
And we do get on, and there's a little bit more of this where it's like Seven starts taunting her back about how she was able to escape. She was able to get away. And she says, I'm the one that got away. Right. So there's more of that sexual tension there.
Right.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's double entendre. Okay.
Yeah. And so Bejazel like starts to question it, but then Seven like gets out of the cuffs and grabs her by the neck. By the way, I didn't write this down until now, but this whole time Seven has been calling Bejazel Jay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's sex.
It's better
Grabs
than
her by the
name.
neck and then says, drop your weapons. And Bejazel's like, do it. She's choking. And so they drop their weapons, and Picard is still looking surprised and looks at 7 of 9. He's like, what the hell is going on here? And
In the French accent?
No, he's in Picard mode.
No.
And 7 says, I was not entirely candid with you. Elnor leans in and is like, are we still pretending? And Picard says, no, Elnor. I think everyone has finally stopped. Cut to commercial. Act 4.
Oh man, they do have some good one-liners that are better than the show.
And I just love how exasperated Picard seems at first when he's like, no, Elnor, but then he follows it up with the serious line, and it works. Because that's how anybody would respond to Elnor.
Elnor is like the Drax of this series.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that was going to be Agnes, but yeah.
Agnes is the audience stand-in.
Sometimes. She's sometimes the audience stand-in.
Yeah, that's true. Act 4, we pick up right where we left off with Elnor grabbing the guns from everybody, and then now the standoff is reversed. Right?
Wait.
Picard's crew has the upper hand now because they have the gun.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Bruce Maddox is there this whole time, and so Picard like greets Bruce.
Wait, what?
He's kind of out of it. He's been like lying on the floor in a corner.
Wait, what kind of room were they doing this exchange in?
Oh, they're out in the club. They're in a booth.
They're in
It's
a
a large.
So why is Bruce Maddox there?
He's there for the exchange.
Yeah, but like where? I can't.
They're trading 7 of 9 for Maddox.
Yeah, but I can't picture what's going on. So like they walked in and they had Bruce with them.
There's a single establishing shot at the beginning of one of the scenes that shows Bruce Maddox beat up and lying on the floor
In the club.
Yes.
So
like it's an establishing shot of this conversation or one of these conversations.
So just in this nightclub, there's just some dude randomly beat up lying on the floor.
Yeah, but it's a nightclub. Nobody cares. They all know what's what. Keep your noses down. Stay out of trouble. You don't want to mess with these people.
Okay. Yeah, I'm having a hard time picturing it, but
you don't want to mess with
Cantina than nightclub, I just want to say.
Ain't nobody messes with Bejazel.
I'm trying to make Bejazel happen.
So now Bejazel recognizes, because Bruce Maddox is like, Picard, and Bejazel is like, oh, Admiral Picard, and begins taunting him. He's like, well, it seems somebody didn't know what was up. Who was playing who, right? Because 7 was playing Picard.
Right.
And 7, still grabbing Bejazel by the neck, tells Picard, she says, take Maddox and go. But Picard's not having any of this, right? And starts questioning and like telling 7 of 9, no, you can't do this, right? Revenge is not the way. And 7 starts telling the story of Icheb and how he was ambushed and how Bejazel betrayed 7 of 9 to capture Icheb and then harvest him for parts without any anesthetic. And this is when we learned that Bejazel learned about Icheb from 7 of 9. So she feels guilty about this. And Picard says murder is not justice. There's no solace in revenge, right? You've had your humanity restored to you. Don't squander this. Meanwhile, we get a quick shot of Vup, and he's got a little gun that pops out of his sleeve. And he's getting ready to charge it up. And it goes back to, this is when we hear, don't squander your restored humanity. And then suddenly, pew, pew, pew. Rios shoots Vup because he's seeing this whole thing. So now Vup is out of the picture.
Okay.
And he comes over, and now they're getting ready to go. But 7 of 9, she still wants revenge.
Now, is there like a lot of running and screaming going from the club at this point?
I have it written down when the running and screaming happens.
And it hasn't started yet?
Apparently not.
Because now we have weapons fire.
he had a silencer.
No, this isn't the part where there's running and screaming.
Jeez.
Not yet. That comes later. So anyway, now Rios starts trying to talk 7 of 9 out of this revenge kick. Right? He's like, revenge. I get it. But if you do this, they're going to put a bounty on all of us. Now, I can handle a bounty, but the kid and the old man, they're not going to stand a chance out here with price on their heads.
Out.
And this kind of convinces 7 of 9, right? But before this point, Bjayzl offers a trade. She's like, how about Maddox for my life? That doesn't amuse 7 of 9. But Rios is like, no, look at the math of it is all I'm saying. Right? You found her once. Odds are you'll be able to find her again.
Yeah, she doesn't try to hide.
She's literally bejazzled.
Yeah, she's running a nightclub.
Very shiny.
They found her by intergalactic Googling, it sounds like.
So this is what convinces 7 to let up. And as soon as she lets go, they call for Agnes to beam them out of there. Right? 5 to beam up, and they beam them all up. And at that moment, now we're back on the ship, and Agnes recognizes Maddox. She's like, Bruce, and runs over, and Maddox is like very weakly is like, Aggie, and they walk him off to bay. Picard and 7 are left behind though, and Picard's like, I'm glad of the choice you made. And he offers to give her a lift to wherever she wants to go. And 7 of 9, she declines. She says, no. The Fenris will probably they've probably already sent a Corsair. It's probably already here to pick me up.
Okay.
But I will, she says, I will take 2 of your phaser rifles over there. A vigilante could always use extra guns. Right? This is paraphrasing.
Right.
Picard kind of gives her a look. And the only thing I can think is he rolled a natural 1 on his insight check and says,
or she rolled a natural 20.
Either way. Picard says, of course.
So Picard gives away Rios's guns. Got it.
Well, no,
They can replicate more.
These were guns they picked up from the attack when the chateau was attacked. They got these from the Romulan. Well,
I gotcha.
Okay,
They
sure,
all have
fine,
weapons.
whatever.
There are
They're just
weapons
lying
on
around
the
though.
ship.
Yeah. Okay. I gotcha.
Anyway,
Weird,
so
but I gotcha.
7 grabs 2 of the phasers. 7 gives Picard a little chip. It's a contact chip, and she says, use this in case you ever need a vigilante. And he takes it. And then before she leaves, she kind of stops for a moment, turns to Picard and says, when you left the collective, did you ever feel like you regained your humanity? And Picard says, yes. And 7 says, all of it? Picard says, no, but we're both working on it, aren't we? And 7 says, every damn day of my life. And we get a Voyager music sting here. The theme song from Voyager. It's very brief, but it's cool. And then she steps onto the transporter pad. Picard steps over to the console. And we get a quick shot of her phaser rifles charging up as she beams out.
Oh,
What?
okay. Who beamed her out?
Picard,
So he knew where he was sending her?
I guess. Because
Back to the
in
planet?
the very next shot, she materializes right back in the middle of the nightclub.
Are you serious?
Next shot, she beams in. There's Bjayzl there and her 2 attendants. She beams in and says hi and shoots the 2 attendants. And this is when all the club goers start screaming and running away.
It takes
Some of them
2
are
people to
beamed
die. One
Ah,
person, hey guys, party's still on, man, and the night's young. Oh, 2 people got shot. Okay, now it's time to run and scream.
The
Yeah.
first one's
Well,
okay.
the boss's goons got shot.
Yeah, the first one's cool because they shot the bouncer.
yeah, the guy that
The boss is goon.
Well,
The guy
here's the
that-
thought though.
responsible for maintaining club order. Yes, he gets shot, and everyone's like, "I'll be fine."
But would Rios have shot him to kill him or shot him to stun him?
I don't
Would
know.
the people know?
What?
They might.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Would the people know the difference between shot to kill versus shot to...
Well, the weapon's different.
They would if it was Star Wars. Just saying. Completely different visual and sound effect.
For
Yeah.
example, the only reason I knew in the opening scene that 7 stunned the 2 scientists was because I actually looked it up in the episode summary.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I knew at that point. Any other time, I have no idea if the shot is to kill or to stun. I don't know the difference.
Yeah, Star Trek canon has never done anything to really differentiate between a stun and a set to kill, other than to look for the burn mark to see if it's through your body.
True. Yeah.
So 7 of 9 beams in. All the club goers. This is when they scream. Some of them actually beam away, like they insta-port out.
Oh, that's cool. Hey,
No, that's
I like that. I like that.
that's
nice
terrible.
little touch.
What?
Like
What-
if you're in a nightclub that you know has a reputation for anything goes and anything could happen at any moment, you're gonna have maybe a way to get out of there quick. And if your way to get out of there is to transport, then why not?
Okay, fine.
No,
Maybe
this
it's
is
site to site,
no,
they're just
Dapper. This is
transporting outside the front door
yeah,
on the street.
this is a very well established Star Trek technology. It could be
Okay.
something
This is
nearby.
50 years beyond what's established.
Yeah. What's that?
This is like 50 years beyond what's well established in Star Trek canon.
Then they
Like
could
this
just
is
teleport away.
advanced. This is advanced transporter technology
Well, this is only 20 years later from the most recent Star Trek we've seen.
from well, yeah, but not from the series.
No, in the
Anyway.
series, this is 20 years
Hey,
after
a lot of technology can improve in 20 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
yes, this is it's 20, not 50, is what I was saying.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
Save it for corrections corner, Dustin. No, I'm just kidding.
well, no, this way we don't have to put in corrections.
Well,
Real time
and yet we will anyways.
Making a note.
The argument continues.
Okay,
The
so
next
now
generation of arguments. Argument.
so now 7 of 9 has Bejazel basically cornered. She's got her back to the bar, right? She's trapped. Nowhere to go. So she tried stalling. And she tries kind of it's kind of like she's taunting, but more flirting with 7. And she ends up saying like, oh, you're gonna shoot your way out. You're risking your life on revenge. This kind of reminds me of the Annika of old. And 7 says, me too. Picard thinks that there's a place in the galaxy for mercy. I didn't want to disillusion him. Somebody out here ought to have a little hope. And this is when 7 calls her out on her stalling. And there's a second security wave coming in less than 5 seconds. By the way, I timed it much longer than 5 seconds before they show up.
Thank you for doing
It's
that.
like Dragon Ball Z.
Yep.
As soon as she said it,
Hopefully it's not as
as
bad as
soon as
Greg.
she said it, I started counting down. Bejazel tries one last plea. 7 raises both phasers and says, he was a son to me, Jay. This is for him. And shoots her, and Bejazel disintegrates into a red cloud.
Nice. Does she shoot her with both rifles?
Yep, fully charged, completely disintegrated into a red cloud of misty blood.
Double
the
tap
red-
back in the head, proper.
Is the red cloud sparkly?
Slightly.
Okay.
Because you can't get rid of
Better
glitter
be.
that easily.
Yeah.
That's
It
true.
is- It is the herpes of the art world. So
Yeah.
Wow.
I saw a meme earlier today.
No, my sister is an art major, and that's what she calls it.
Oh yeah,
Let's see if
it's
I
true.
saw a meme earlier today comparing the coronavirus outbreak to a Ren Fest.
Oh shit!
And how 10 people at the Ren Fest are dressed up as fairies, though
Mhm.
everybody goes home covered in glitter.
Yep,
Yeah, it's kind of true.
not wrong.
So at this point, security arrives and 7 of 9 shoots her way out. She's just casually walking, both guns out, held out, full automatic fire. But that's all we see of the.
The classic Hollywood badass just walking casually, shooting people as soon as they come by. And
Yep.
Does she spontaneously generate sunglasses?
That is the last we see of 7 of 9.
Oh.
Aw. No catchy one-liners.
Nope, just shooting. Cut to sick bay.
Oh man! Oh, I thought that was going to be the end.
No, not yet. We got a couple more scenes here.
Okay.
Maddox is lying on the bio bed. Picard at his side. Agnes is in the room as well. She's over in another part at a counter, but she's listening. We get shots of her face showing that she is very clearly listening to this conversation. We get a computer voice saying massive abdominal hemorrhaging, increased clotting factor by 12%. So Maddox is pretty beat up.
Mm-hmm.
And in this conversation, Picard confirms to Maddox that Daj is dead. Because Maddox asks, she's like, Daj, she's dead, isn't she? And Picard's like, yeah. She says she found me and then I lost her. And then Maddox explains, yeah.
Oh, so we're getting confirmation he did make these. Okay.
Maddox explains, he says her embedded mom AI wouldn't have activated her unless she was in great danger.
Mom AI?
Mom AI. You remember when she would call her mom on the phone?
Yeah.
And then she'd like fall asleep like a specific number of seconds later?
Alright.
Okay.
Okay, it's a bomb AI. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Some of
So
the
then
stuff I had problems with is being explained away, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So then Picard asks about the sister. And we get another shot of Agnes. Her face is very unreadable as she's listening. Maddox confirms, yes, Soji. Picard says, where is she? Maddox says, the artifact. Picard, not the captured Borg cube. But why? And Maddox says, the same reason I sent her sister to Earth, to find the truth.
Well, that's
The truth.
vague.
The truth about what? The truth about the ban. And Maddox says there are lies upon lies. They're hiding something. And then Picard says, who? Who's hiding something? And Maddox says, I don't know. And we get another shot of Agnes. But Maddox says, I don't know. The same ones who are hunting her. And Picard says, the Romulans? No, not just them. I think the Federation are involved. That's what I sent them to find out.
Okay.
Yeah. So Maddox sent Soji and Daj to find out what was going on with the ban on synthetics, because he seems to think that not just the Romulans are involved, but the Federation's complicit as well.
Okay,
I'd like
which
to
is
know
why
what
he
his
sent
long-
one to the Romulan reclamation site.
Yeah.
Oh.
I would like to know what his long-term plan was for Daj. Like,
We're not going to find out because he's about to die, isn't he?
Well, we're only halfway through the season.
I mean, he does have all of the answers, so I guess you have a good point. I wasn't actually seeing that coming, and I thought he was about to join the merry band.
Agnes comes over and tells Picard that, he's really stressed out. He needs to rest, and asks Picard to leave. And so he does. Cut to the bridge.
Wait. Okay.
What?
Okay, no, keep going.
Okay, so now we're on the bridge. And Picard is talking to Rios, and they're discussing the artifact. Right. And Rios is like, I'm going to have to double my fee for this. Going into Romulan space. Right.
No.
See, he has a fee. He's being paid in
Well, Picard
money.
kind of shrugs it off anyway, so I don't know. But then, after this brief conversation, Rios is like, so are we going to talk about our stowaway? And then we cut to Picard knocking on Raffi's door on the ship. And we hear Raffi inside say, leave me alone. And Picard kind of quietly through the door says, welcome back. Cut back to sickbay. Agnes is at Maddox's side. They're having a little moment. And Maddox looks at Agnes and like he's happy to see her. And he says, did you get to see Daj? Did you get to meet her? She says, no. And Maddox says, they're perfect. Perfectly imperfect.
What?
That's what he says.
No, that makes sense.
Because they're perfect flesh and blood android.
Yeah, I have an interpretation of that. What's your interpretation of that, Dapper?
That as synthetically created organisms, they need to be not perfect. They need to have flaws. Just like in kind of a weird sort of meta way, like a person writing a character, it has to have flaws. Otherwise, it's not human.
Right. That's kind of what I was thinking. Was like a tree has to have little bends and stuff. To look real, not
and that's
artificial.
the whole thing. Is they're meant to be indistinguishable from human, and humans have flaws. So of course, perfectly imperfect.
Well, she is not indistinguishable. She is super strong.
Once she's activated,
and Dustin, she knows things.
She knows things now.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's only once she's activated. Before she's activated, she doesn't even know she's different.
Yep.
She can't even tell the difference. That's how perfectly imperfect she is.
I wonder how she got her boyfriend, though, because that implies she's been around on Earth for a while.
At least 3 years.
I disagree because Soji was just like that.
Bam. Yep. You're not wrong.
That's true. Maybe
That's
Di,
fair.
her boyfriend just met earlier that day.
Yeah.
You're so mysterious. I don't understand you because I'm a robot.
He went home with the wrong girl.
Oh man, I want to know his story now.
Yeah.
Oh, that is poor guy.
His story is he's got a knife in his chest.
Oh man, I want that fan fiction of his perfectly good day, and everyone knows what's about to happen.
It might be a memory beta.
Oh.
I am not looking it up. I am not going on fan.
That's where you draw the line.
I'm looking at you. That is your own business. It's not a fact check.
Draw the line at extended universe.
Extended fan fiction universe.
Yeah, man. I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's a fan fiction somewhere where he survives and tells Picard how to do things.
It's like
That's
Star
just
Wars.
how happens.
All right. Let's tone down the swearing.
Okay, I won't say Star Wars Legends anymore. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Fine, I blame you for that one.
So anyway, Agnes and Maddox are having their moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Maddox looks at Agnes and he says, "We did it, Aggie. Sung and I and you. Your contribution was essential."
Really?
Wait, did he say soon?
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
He's standing on the shoulders of giants. He's building off of Sung's work. Because this is all based on data. Because remember, if we can get just one neuron, we can reconstruct Data's entire code and
I know.
memory.
Well, the way he said it sounded like the way he said it sounded like he wasn't building on Soon's work. It was Soon was involved.
Yeah,
Oh.
they're working together, like partnering.
Yeah.
That's how I interpreted it. And then I was like, wait a minute, isn't he dead or something?
Yeah,
Well, yeah, Soon is definitely dead.
Sung died. Didn't he
unless-
die on screen?
He
Didn't
did
Laura kill him?
die on screen. He did have a wife who's actually an android.
Yeah, the wife's an android because the actual wife
Yeah.
died.
So
Yep.
there's 4. So there's like 3 things that Data is not one of a kind.
And the wife doesn't know she's an android. Is the wife a perfect android?
I think because she's
Oh,
also
maybe.
yeah, and
Does she
she's also
bleed?
like activated to like scheduled to die of old age.
Yeah,
So I think
like she'll never know that she's an android.
I think she's the more perfect android.
That's actually a good episode of TNG.
I thought it was clever.
Anyway, so yeah, we did it. Sung and I and you, your contribution was essential. And Agnes, through tears, she says, "There's one more thing I have to atone for." Maddox says, "What do you mean?" And Agnes starts pushing buttons, and we hear alarms starting to beep. The EMH arrives and says, "What is the nature of your psychiatric emergency? Your blood pressure and cortisol levels." And we see Maddox gasping and choking for air. And then the EMH says, "What is the nature of your medical emergency?" And Agnes says, "Deactivate EMH."
What?
Maddox is gasping and choking, and he calls out Aggie. Aggie, crying, is watching, and she says to Maddox, she says through tears, "I wish you knew what I knew. I wish I didn't know what I know. I wish they hadn't shown me." And we see veins starting to appear on Maddox's face. And Agnes says, "I'm so sorry." And the alarms continue sounding. And then they go into that single beep.
Yes! Agnes murders the dude.
And
Yes!
Agnes breaks into
Wow.
tears. And then she steels herself, looking down into Maddox's face, his eyes completely black, like his irises are black, and his face completely webbed with black veins, and he's dead on the table. Cut
Creepy.
to credits. That's the end of the
Yes!
episode.
Wow.
Wow.
This episode is
I am
all
on
about betrayal.
board.
Yeah.
Episode 5 has now hooked me. I am on board.
Right? This is where I started getting into it too.
Really?
Yeah.
This is where it's like
is a
I
good
was never really on board, but this is kind of losing me a little bit.
Really?
Well, the torture
How's it, wait,
in the
wait.
beginning.
How's it losing you?
This is
I'm-
like go on.
I'm just not intrigued.
Huh.
Okay.
I mean, I'm interested in this.
Yeah,
so
why are
I
you
would-
not intrigued?
I would say for me, it's kind of like we have 5 episodes of all this crazy, random, unpredictable stuff happening.
It's a slow burn.
We kind of need to start seeing natural progression of events and consequences. That's kind of what I would say would start losing me in a
I
series.
mean,
Well,
I
think
knew
we
that she
are
was
doing-
going to off him from the beginning of the episode.
Oh, really?
I knew if they found him, she was going to kill him.
I did
Oh,
not.
interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
No,
How
that's,
do you- I'm wondering
that's-
how do I'm very
yeah.
curious. Plus, we have
Because
time. I have a glass of wine left.
because that's usually how it goes in stories. You've got the oh, she's a love interest and she hasn't fessed up to everybody that they were together. Oh no, she's gonna steal herself and kill him in the end, but she's got some kind of righteous reason.
But why?
okay. No, I mean
Like you
That-
see that so much.
that is a fair trope, but I honestly I did not see that coming with Agnes. I'm not gonna
Not with
lie.
Agnes, no.
No, because she's been kind of portrayed as the idiot, and
Yeah, she's been us. She's been the audience stand-in. Like
That-
this,
But
is-
she
this
wasn't
is
in the
narrative
beginning.
betrayal,
Like, so she
it's like the
let's look
in,
back.
Heavy
She's
Rain.
really smart. She knows all about these synthetics or AIs or whatever.
Mhm.
She uses a rifle or whatever to murder a Romulan in the middle of a fight, and then is all like, "Oh, did I do that? Oh, silly me!" Like, come on, come on.
See, I attributed that to bad writing, but no, okay.
There's
See,
a
the-
lot.
And then then she's looking back at her memories and being all sad about it, and I'm like, "Oh, well, that she's gonna kill him."
Yeah, like I will give this show credit because yes, it's a slow burn, but after seeing the whole series and going back and rewatching it, there's so much more happening. Like it's a slow burn still, but you can see what the motivations are, and it makes a lot more sense in many cases.
Do I have to change the intro to these episodes where I don't give them a 0 from us?
Hey, I've been tempted to speak up on that a couple times and
I
say,
mean,
hey, I might give it a
Tell
0.
me, you're
giving
going to
it a
bump up to
3.
1?
How about we just switch it to a thumbs down?
No.
No,
I'm
not
giving the show a
even.
thumbs up. No, I'm sold on the show. I enjoyed the series, the season.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I enjoy where it went because it surprised me. I did not expect it,
Okay.
and it went there. Like where it goes there.
I feel like I kind of let us skip over the part where Picard either knowingly or stupidly sends 7 of 9 back.
Yeah, that's
Knowingly,
fucked up.
he
Invented.
knew what she was gonna do. Come on.
Insight check.
Yeah.
No, that's not how this works.
Especially when he was the one that beamed her away.
Yeah, he
would
sent
know-
her back there.
Which completely negates 7 of 9's reasoning of, well, I don't want to
Maybe-
disabuse him of his hope.
Maybe
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe he thought she was just going there for a drink.
So
No, he knew. He sent
Yeah.
her there.
I'd be sure.
so in terms of this series winning you over, yeah, you might have some cool scenes, but you still have really stupid, inconsistent stuff happening in between.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Well, okay,
inconsistencies.
so no, the inconsistencies are just because we assume things.
Mhm.
And I mean,
There's still a lot of stuff you don't know what's happening right now. Like I know there are things going on right now that you have no idea about
yeah.
just yet. Like the clues are there, but
Right.
I'm not going to draw focus to the clues individually for you. I might mention them in passing.
No, that's fine. But I'm just saying, like this is a character thing. Whether Picard is like, don't do it.
Oh.
Okay, now I'll beam you back there to do it, so I don't have to witness it.
I do find it interesting that all of you were surprised by Agnes, and I saw it coming from a mile away.
Yeah, no. I'm
Like
not
you were
gonna lie.
all willing to write her off as just some dumb character,
I wasn't.
and I feel like
Well,
she
first time I
followed
was.
the steps of a trope, like one for one.
I feel embarrassed. I'm a little embarrassed, Krista.
Somebody
Thank you.
their career.
I will
on
say
this.
yes. I was surprised, and as we were talking about her, I was beginning to think something was going to come up of she's actually a plant of some sort.
Yeah,
we
because
talked about
why
her-
is she there?
Yeah,
Yeah, we
offing
talked
him, I did not see coming.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't see them coming away from this with Maddox. That was my thought, was that they would fail, that Maddox would die in the exchange, and they would be like, "Oh, we almost had him." And then they
Yeah,
would
I mean, I was
extract
kind of
some
expecting that
clue
too.
from that.
And when
that
that
would lead
didn't
them to the next step.
happen, yeah, I kind
Yeah,
of didn't think
fair.
they were gonna get him. But then when that didn't happen, then Agnes is acting all nervous, and they keep showing shots of her because Brian kept saying they would shoot over to her and she's nervous.
Yeah,
That
I
to
knew-
me
I
was
knew
going,
Agnes
okay, yeah,
would
they're
kind of
setting that up. They're setting that, and then she sends Picard away with some bullshit. Oh, he needs to rest. Like she's not a doctor. She's not even the doctor in charge of the ship. The EMH should have been there.
She's not a medical doctor.
yeah.
She's not a medical doctor.
Well, yeah, at that point, I think we all saw it coming, but I did not see it coming at the beginning of this episode, or even halfway through. I did not see it coming.
I
Yeah,
didn't.
as soon as she was watching that hollow about the cookies, I'm like,
Okay.
oh, she's gonna
Wow.
kill him. I don't know
Yeah,
how, but
wow.
she's gonna kill him.
That's
Wow.
wow.
That,
Yeah.
Like that was the dead
No,
giveaway for
But
me.
as
Yeah.
I was saying earlier, you being somebody who makes their career on literature,
Yeah,
you're much
that's
more
true.
well versed on a lot of these tropes than we are.
Yeah.
So you'll see a lot of these things coming.
Yeah, and I can't decide if I should think more of the writers because they did obviously tricked you guys into buying that they
I
were
wanna
we're
say-
lazy writing. I can't tell if it's better of them or worse of them for falling into a trope.
My thought on that, I almost want to say maybe the individual writers are kind of but whoever is in charge of like the overarching story is doing a decent job.
So that would be
Okay.
Michael Chabon, probably.
Really?
Well,
Well,
here's
I
the
mean,
thing.
it's a
I
team
don't
of
know
writers.
how writing works. Like, I don't know the mechanics of it, but it does seem like whoever is in charge of seeding ideas and like seeding these long-term outcomes, that's being well done.
So here's what I'll say based on the credits. So the
Mm.
first episode has 2 writers, but then they also get story credits to Akiva Goldsman, Michael Chabon, Kristen Beyer, Alex Kurtzman, and James Duff. And then the last 2 episodes, and they don't do that for any of the other episodes except for the last 2, which give it to Michael Chabon and Akiva Goldsman. So my guess would be a combination of the showrunner Michael Chabon, since he's like 8 of these episodes, and probably his partner Akiva Goldsman.
I'm guessing they were all probably in the room throwing ideas back and forth, because if you do watch the DS9 documentary, they show you how they wrote episodes.
Yeah.
By writing a fake one, which made me sad, but it did surprise me, because it is just a bunch of guys in a room and they have a big like whiteboard and they're writing stuff down.
Now I'm going to need you to elaborate on they wrote a fake one.
They got together and they said, okay, well, let's pretend we're getting another season and let's look at what that opening episode would be and let's storyboard the episode. Will never come to be.
I will say at least Rick Berman is not in.
So why do you have some Rick Berman hate?
Rick Berman is everything that was wrong with old Trek. Like which is that's quite a conversation, because old Trek, but right. Rick Berman was not a Star Trek person, but he was still the head writer of most of TNG and DS9 Voyager.
Well, he was the Alex Kurtzman of the time.
Yeah,
where
but
he was the head of all of it.
Like Gene Roddenberry, he was not. He actually opposed Gene Roddenberry on a lot of his philosophies. And Rick Berman's goal with writing the show, or with running the show, was to just put out entertaining pop.
Well, so here's the thing. I'm not going to try to defend Rick Berman, but I do want to lay down some of the facts. Rick Berman, I don't think wrote any other episodes except for the finale of Enterprise, which we all know.
He wrote a decent number of episodes.
Did he? He's
like the head showrunner of most of the series.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, he was.
According to Memory Alpha, I'm going to quote Memory Alpha here. He is a veteran writer and producer of the American television. He was the executive producer of Star Trek: The Next Generation, 1991 to 94, and co-creator of the Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Voyager, and Star Trek Enterprise.
I believe he has a lot of producer credits for DS9, though.
Well, yeah, but he wasn't nearly as involved in it after watching the documentary for Deep Space Nine. But I mean, yeah, he was involved in TNG and Voyager and Enterprise. But I don't think he was like writing down specific episodes.
Sometimes he was, and he would definitely have influence.
Oh, I'm sure he had influence because.
But basically, Rick Berman is. Anytime in classic Trek, like in TNG, that you see something that blatantly goes against Trek philosophies, usually Berman's got a hand in it.
Okay.
So I'm curious to what you think that are blatant Trek philosophies.
I mean, I'll have to save that for a future special edition.
A corrections corner? Okay.
Yeah. I make no promises, though, because...
We'll explore that some other time, because that is one heck of a conversation to get into.
Yeah.
Picard
does seem to be
discussion.
going against it.
I mean, I'm basing most of my information on things I've watched from other people, like Steve Shives, and there's another video series I watched that breaks down a lot of Trek episodes really, really good fashion, but I'll have to get back to you on what it's actually called, because he's not on YouTube. Wow. Anyway, on the next episode, we're going to go to the Borg Cube.
Oh, wait! We didn't have any Borg Cube stuff.
Not only did we have
a lot of it in the next episode.
Yeah. Not only do we have no Borg Cube, but I'm pretty sure that nobody in this episode of our podcast said the actual tagline.
I was realizing that too.
Oh yeah. Dustin,
right?
Say it.
How dare you?
So it sounds like we need to back up a second.
Okay. Well, we do need to back up a second and talk about the fact that when you say the artifact, everyone instantly knows you're talking about the Borg Cube.
Yeah, that struck me as well.
There you go. Problem solved.
Wait.
What?
I'm confused.
Me too.
What were you? What?
The fact that Picard says something about just when you say the artifact, everyone knows that you mean the Borg cube.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty big news, though. Like,
but the fact that it's
Romulans-
the artifact,
if the Romulans were able to capture a Borg cube, that would make news across both the Alpha and Beta Quadrant.
Well, yeah, but does Maddox say the Borg artifact, or does he just call it the artifact?
no, there was a point
He calls
where
it the what?
Picard said it to Rios. That's said the artifact, and Rios knew exactly what it was.
So my assumption is that this is very this is big.
I'm not disputing the fact that everyone knows the Romulans have a Borg cube. I'm disputing the fact that it's just referred to colloquially as the artifact across the galaxy.
I mean,
Yeah.
Sure, why not? That happens in real world all the time.
The Romans are well known for disseminating information throughout the galaxy. They're very open.
If something happens, all it takes is one person to give it a label, and that label can catch on.
Yeah, but that label's so mundane.
Well, yeah, have you seen real life labels?
I know it could be the Borg artifact,
Right?
But it's just the artifact because people are lazy.
But Picard comes from an archaeology background,
so he knows what the artifact is.
He knows what artifacts are, and he talks about artifacts throughout the series. So why would this one be the artifact?
Because it's the artifact.
It's believable.
They don't say it's on an artifact. It's the artifact.
Well, and it could be like the Borg artifact. The Bartifact.
Like, it doesn't even fit the dictionary definition number 1 of an artifact.
It's a label. It's a name.
Number 2, I guess.
You can name things anything. Like, think about the Patriot Act, for example. There's nothing patriotic about it.
Well, actually, they purposely named it so that it's a acronym. So that.
Well, still, my point
No,
stands.
it doesn't.
Actually,
not at all.
You can't say your primary source and they go, "Oh, well, it doesn't make sense." No, but my point still stands.
Listen, people name things. People give things names that make no sense all the time. Yes,
but this is a very generic word. So if something,
you can name things generic terms and they still catch on as proper.
So if we captured like a spy plane from Russia and we just called it the plane.
If it was
and everyone would just be like, that was the plane.
It was all over the news, and the plane. It's like calling it 9/11. Everybody knows what you're talking about.
Oh god, this podcast just went there. You're talking about 9/11 now.
Out of context, that's just a date. What's so special about a date? We call it 9/11. Everybody knows what you're talking about. Labels can be mundane, and people will still know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but people don't just say 9/11. Like if I was going to talk about September 11th, I wouldn't say 9/11. If I say 9/11, I mean the specific attack that happened on September 11th.
That's what I'm talking about.
No, Brian. If it was this generic, people would call it the date.
Yeah, the day
or the attack.
I think you're splitting hairs.
No,
I don't think I'm not. Brian, I think for you, I'm going to give your argument for you. The best that I can get is D-Day. That's the closest I can come to say something very generic has become very, But I mean, if I think about it, like that's very few and far between.
I don't get how much more I can argue this because this happens all the time.
Well, give me another example besides D. Give me another example.
So many. It's the Three Stooges.
Then give them. If there's so many, then give them.
Yeah,
it's the Three Stooges syndrome. There's so many of them. I can't think of any at this moment in time.
Like,
also,
is there something called the Thing?
Well,
there is the Thing. I lost this argument.
Well, there are several things that are the Thing, but
are you seriously arguing with me that people don't give things mundane names and people still know what they're talking about?
I am
in the real world. No,
yes, it happens all the time.
I think the problem is, Brian, that we're talking about you're not talking about the 24-hour American news cycle. We're talking about a thing that happened in Romulan space somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And considering the Romulan Empire has collapsed, news will travel.
No, that's just it. News won't because it's collapsed.
What?
And this is a galaxy-wide thing.
There are Starfleet people working on the artifact. Hugh is Starfleet.
Okay,
well, Starfleet or Federation?
Federation. Either way, there are Federation people. News travels. The Federation knows about the artifact.
That's true, but then
It doesn't matter what the label is. People recognize the label and know what it's referring to.
But it's so generic. Like
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Starfleet would give it a numerical designation.
Well, I'm sure there's an official name
artifact.
for
Badam.
I'm
Or
sure
even
there's
the
an
Borg
official name
artifact.
for it, but that doesn't change that people will come up with their own labels and pop culture will come up with their own terms, no matter how specific or how mundane. This happens all the time.
The only thing I can think of in the real world that would be equivalent is when you say the pyramids. People generally mean the pyramids in Egypt, but even then...
But that's had 6,000 years of reinforcement.
Irrelevant.
No, not irrelevant. Not irrelevant at all. Because we have disparate cultures across the galaxy. This is not just as Americans, we think of it as this one thing.
Okay, I'm going to put a stop to this right now because...
Oh, are you?
Well, I'm completely exasperated at the fact that you guys are arguing this because this happens almost literally on a daily basis. Just watch the news.
Yes, in our American local news. And the point is that we're talking about this apparently is a metaphor that extends across cultures.
It's a label that has been given to an event that people recognize.
Yeah, across cultures.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
Yes, it does. The pyramids.
Yes, that's at 6,000 years.
Cross culture.
Yes.
Well, and I don't even know if that works outside of our culture.
Been here for 6,000 years?
Okay, stop. Are you saying that significant events cannot have recognizable yet mundane labels that specifically remind people of that said event?
It is exceedingly rare. And for it to happen, it has to be a major thing across that culture.
Across all cultures.
And it has to be almost simultaneous, too, to just all kind of come up with the unique name or the unique that label that everyone applies. Because in this country, we can't even agree on the name of the Civil War.
You mean the War of Northern Aggression?
No, I mean the war between the states.
I think you mean the War of Northern Aggression, Yankee.
Justin.
This is my point.
Justin.
Yes.
If you walk into the Deep South, if you walk into the most Mississippi region of Mississippi,
racism against Mississippians,
Civil War, people are going to know what you're talking about. As mundane of a label that is, people are going to know what you're talking about.
Okay, but if I go to Spain and I talk about the Civil War, are they going to know what I'm talking about?
Fuck no, they're going to
know about the 1936 war.
Franco, man.
Yeah.
See, if they recognize that you're American, absolutely.
I doubt it.
Why not?
Be difficult with a universal translator.
Okay.
I
am in awe that you guys are really arguing this to this degree.
I am in awe that you can say that 75% of the people you're talking to think of a certain way, and you have somehow blanked out on it.
What? I didn't give any numbers.
I'm referring to the 3 people you're talking to.
Okay.
75% of the people, that would be 3 or 4, go, okay, you're kind of being weird. And you go, nope, I'm right. I'm good.
That's small sample size right there.
Yeah, that's true. But I think we're pretty diverse in our interests and our just general stuff.
I'd say kind of general knowledge.
Say so. I don't know.
So I'm I'm more in the middle of this, because like I said, I can think of a couple examples.
You know what? I'm going to make a note of this. On a future corrections corner, I'm going to list as many examples
as the next friggin' episode is going to have a 2-hour corrections corner. Great, fantastic.
Examples of mundane labels.
This sounds like a good time to take us out, Dapper.
Okay.
We know what's going to be going on in the next episode.
Okay. Well, 3, 2, 1. Well, thank you again for listening. I have been Dapper Stormtrooper, along with Turbulent Trout, Lethargic Lists, and our bravest podcaster, Krista. Thanks for listening, and remember, you gotta know when to yur them, and you gotta know when to begir them.